perfectionist pattern in which she frequently criticizes her performance as not good enough. Even when she makes money, she focuses on how much she left on the table by not catching highs and lows. The result leaves her.
Study time. I think I got like, what's up, girl? She look at her. She went getting. She's like, we're on YouTube. I want to get in this. Look at her. She's all in the camera. Uh, I think I got like another 100 and some change. 100 more pages. 100 more pages. Fuck.
186. The Daily Trading Coach. Feeling discouraged, and it also lets her to take bad trades in order to try to catch exact highs and lows. In the fourth column of her journal, she engages in a Socratic debate with those negative thoughts, challenging them and coming up with different ways of viewing the situation. This is truly self-coaching, because, just as the
She's
second
all in the
column is the voice
camera.
of the negative self-talk, the fourth column becomes the voice of the inner coach. The cognitive journal can become a forum in which we vigorously and emotionally challenge our most negative thought patterns. Here are sample entries and what they might look like. Situation. I lost money when markets reversed on the surprise rate hike and my stop was hit. I got out of the winning trade too early, and the market ended up moving 5 points further in my direction. Self-talk. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm so stupid to be trading when there's a chance of news coming out and hurting me. Why can't I stay in good trades? The only way I'll make money is by holding winners. I could have made so much more money. Consequences. I felt down all morning and took too little risk in my next trades, even though they were good ideas that I had conviction in. I finished the day feeling rotten instead of feeling good about the money I made. I was in a bad mood all evening. Coaching taught this rate hike was not expected. See, on. I can't anticipate everything. I had a high probability idea and kept the losses well within planned limits. That's a trade I should always take. This is just my frustration talking. The market had been choppy all day. It's part of my plan to take profits more quickly in choppy markets. Give me a break. I got a good price and made a nice profit. Beating myself up is just going to ruin my next trades. Notice how the fourth column, the trading voice, is close to what you might say to someone else who might be going through your situation. It is an attempt to provide a perspective that is not so blaming and self-critical. As with other parts of the journal, it's important that this fourth.
My best week, man. My best week. So now I'm just doing trading psychology. Get my psychology trading game on tech on put it on game. So they asked me, I'm reading this book. Uh, let's see. I pretty much broke even, so I don't know. I just broke even. That was the main thing. I was down 2,500, so I ended up making 2,700. Probably like a couple $100, man. Nothing big, but it was big enough for me because I had I had to break even, you know. So one day, like back to back, back to back. Day day one, I lost 2,500, and then the next day I won like 3,800. So I did good, man. It was good. I was proud of that. And that's what they're talking about in this book, with this trading psychology book, is where you want to take baby steps because you fuck around, and I've already been that route where I lost all my money because I was putting in too much of my, I was putting in too much of a, I was buying in too big. So if I buy in too big, that means I'll lose big too. You know what I'm saying? So now I buy in small, so if it were to go against me, you know, it doesn't take a lot of my money. You know what I mean? It only takes a little bit. So right now I'm just gonna be doing some real small. So I'm not gonna be making a lot of money. I could, I'm not saying I'm not jinxing myself, right? I'm not jinxing myself, but I'm gonna try to put in small just so I can get my bearings, get my feet wet, and just immerse myself with uh, my me getting into position. Um, stock market's tough, man. 80%, 90% of traders lose. So it's a tough game. Average guy, including myself, that came in, I lost, like I said, over $200,000. Of my own money back in 2013 to 15. So that's what started me trucking. That's why I started truck driving. But you know, just gotta take small steps, man. Try not to go in too big, too fast. That's it. Uh, so I'm just working my way in. But yeah, I really want to stay around, you know, 100, like build myself in 100 at a time. So if I'm gonna put in the position, and then I just want to see how it goes, I'll just put in 100 shares, let that go, right? And if it goes green, meaning I see my P&L, my profit and losses go up in green, I might I might add another 100 to that motherfucker. And it just depends on the market, depends on the volume, depends on the pattern. If it's going in the direction I want. If it starts to pick up in a lot of volume and it starts to go the way I want it to go, I might add another 200 or 300 shares. I'll build my way in. But I'm learning, man. It's a process, man. It's a process. This shit ain't like I said. 90% of traders lose, and I was one of the 90%. But uh, it's a learning process, man. It's the weekend, right? Motherfucker should be out doing his thing, whatever. Oh, shit, I'm here. I'm here in the hotel just studying. I got plenty time, so I got plenty time to fucking use it to study. So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read and read and read and let these motherfuckers just keep let Siri read it to me. Siri gonna be reading it to me, but I might read another book. I'm gonna read that one book with Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio. If you don't know who Ray Dalio is, he's pretty much the number one hedge fund manager. He owns his own. He has a hedge fund. Like it's insane. He's like, I think the hedge fund alone is like a few $100 billion, and he owns the motherfucker. But I think I might read his book too. But yeah, let me get back to studying, man. But yeah, let me see what y'all been saying. No, 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 no. I had 200,000. I had 200,000 cash, my money, not money that I won. It was $200,000 I had, and I lost it. That's why I started truck driving because I had no more money. Walter, you had in North Dakota. Good for you, man. You better wrap up. It's cold as a motherfucker out here. Uh, Andrew asked, "Do I trade the same stock every week?" Hey, to be honest with you, I got one stock that I like because I got one stock I like because that motherfucker it runs like a motherfucker. I'm talking about when it runs like five. You can get it run like from top to bottom. It'll go like $5 a run, $7 a run. So that's five. Yeah, XNET. Fuck yeah, man. That money. But the only thing about XNET is it's running like a motherfucker. The price is at $25. You know what I mean? So if you buy 100 shares at $25, it can get expensive. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's like $2,500. I don't know. Let's see. 100 times $25. Yeah, it's $2,500 just to get 100 shares. But here's the thing: you fuck around and buy XNET on one of the bases, like when it starts to bottom out, it starts to go sideways, and then it breaks out. Whether it breaks out or breaks down, whether it goes up or fucking down, there's a good chance that motherfucker might go big. No, ain't no good chance. It will go big because that's the range. The range usually varies from fucking $10 a range, $5 a range. You know, uh, you know, $4 or $5 a range. That's four times your money, seven times your money, eight times your money. So if I only buy 100 motherfucking shares, and that bitch moves five times, or three times, four times, I just made $400. You know what I mean? And I'm comfortable with that. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with 100 shares. You know, but yeah, that's why I like XNET because that bitch moved, boy. That bitch moved. I was pissed because I was in EKSO or whatever the fuck that bullshit was. I was sideways. I only had one trade left for the week, so I had to be stuck in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? So I was in that bitch all day, and it just went sideways. It was flatline all day, and then I think yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday it actually cracked and went lower. But I wasn't gonna make no money anyways because I was trying to make money on the way up. So I would have had to cancel that shit anyways. But I did cancel it. I took like a $29 loss. I thought I took a bigger loss, but it was only $29. But all these losses. See, this week was a really good week. You know, like you're a lot of guys ain't. You know, if they're not, if you guys are not doing stocks, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But you know, when I say I had a good loss, that means I fucking got out that bitch and I had it for a small loss. You know what I mean? Versus what I was taking before. I was taking $1,000 losses, man. $1,000, $1,200. When I was driving the fucking truck, I couldn't fuck around and watch the goddamn stock market. That's my dumb ass. You know what I mean? Some guys could do that shit, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the fuck they do. I think they just be talking shit, man. They're probably full of shit. But I was driving a truck. I couldn't sit there and watch the motherfucking, stock. You know what I mean? Or else I fuck around and crash. But anyways, that's why I was losing so much motherfucking money because one, I wasn't able to see what was really going on, second to second, minute to minute. Two, I was driving a motherfucking truck. I got two things going on, man. No. So, anyways, I was losing a lot of money, man. You know what I mean? I was losing a few thousand here and there. And that was on my E-Trade account. I can't verify those trades because they closed my motherfucking account. So I can't verify my trades and how much I lost. But I probably lost about 4 or 5 thousand on fucking E-Trade when I had E-Trade before they canceled my shit while I was driving the truck when I first came out here in North Dakota. So I'm down 5,000, 4,000. You know what I mean? With E-Trade, I can't verify those trades, but the trades that I got verified now is through two brokers. You know what I mean? Schwab and Interactive Brokers. And right now, as of this point, right now, I'm down like 3 grand. I'm down like 3,000. I'm down like 3,000 right now, some change. But you know what? I was down 5,000, almost 6,000. But guess what? I had a good week this week. I had my losses were smaller than my gains. Thank God. But yeah, I just gotta keep studying, just immerse myself with this shit because I got plenty of time, man. You see me, I'm just laid up. This is all I do now, man. Just lay up, lay up. I ain't got no excuse not to fucking be reading these books, and I've already watched all the goddamn DVDs, and I haven't watched all his video lessons he had. He has over 4,000 video lessons. I haven't watched them all, man, but I'm going through them. But I gotta switch it up, man. Motherfucker get tired of watching same shit. Fuck, I get tired of hearing you, Timothy Sykes, man. I get tired of hearing your motherfucking ass, man. But yeah, I had to switch it up, man. So I go from reading the book to watching fucking video lessons. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, hey, how'd you do at the casino last night, man? You make any money? Oh, thanks, Steph, man. I know it's gonna hit for all of us, man. We just gotta study, man. Yeah, Andrew, did you what you end up doing last night? I seen you went to that casino. What happened, man? Anything good? I was a little jealous, man. I was like, fuck. I wish I was out. I wish I was out hanging out, man. Shit. Yeah, everybody was calling me back home in Miami. They was like, hey man, you need. They were like, hey man, no roulette table took my money. No roulette table took my money. Odd numbers never came up. Oh shit! How much you give up? Yeah, they were trying to get me. My boy bought me a flight. He's like, I'm gonna buy you a flight right now. Cause I said, man, I ain't spending no money, man. Right now I'm jammed up. I'm not jammed up, but I don't want to spend no motherfucking money. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna buy you a plane, man. You come to Miami tomorrow, which is today. 400. I was like, nah, man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm staying right here. Plus, I got my dog too. You know, it's not gonna be a problem. I see a service dog, but yeah, I could have went home yesterday, man. But I was like, nah, man. Cause I fuck around, and go back home to Miami. I ain't coming back. That's what I'm trying to say. If I fuck around and leave, I'm not coming back. Ain't no sense of coming back here. Cause once I get home back to Miami or wherever I'm at, I'm not coming back to this motherfucker. I'm gone. Ain't no coming back. So that's why I just want to stay here and just focus on this shit and just relax, kick up. All right, man, I gotta study. No fucking need motherfuckers.
Remapping the mind 187 column be detailed, so that you have an opportunity to really think about and absorb the alternative view. Writing, I shouldn't be so hard on myself, is less effective than writing. This is the same kind of talk I heard from the boss at my old job who couldn't stand me. I hated him, and I hate how he treated me. I don't deserve this and I'm not going to do it to myself. It is also effective to elaborate the negative consequences of the automatic thinking in that fourth column. This kind of thinking has interfered with my trading all year long. I'm not going to let it cost me any more money. You want to counter your automatic thoughts with emotional force. It is the emotional experience of challenging your ways of thinking that will cement the new patterns. The reason the journal is effective is that it provides a regular, structured opportunity for you to take the self-coaching role. It's a great way to practice mentoring yourself. The use of the journal may feel artificial at first, but with repeated entries, you begin to internalize that coach's voice and start challenging your negative thinking as soon as it pops up. The cognitive journal also offers an excellent tool for reviewing your trading, particularly if you add a simple fifth column and track your profitability each day and or grade the quality of your trading for that day. That column enables you to see how your progress in changing your self-talk is related to your trading progress. Adding to motivation. Another alteration to the framework is to create an audio journal, so that all of your entries are spoken out loud in real time. This not only helps you restructure your thinking during breaks in the trading day, it also provides a useful day's end review and cements your lessons. Coaching Q. Where traders often fall short with the cognitive journal is in making it more of a logical exercise than a psychological one. Traders challenge their negative thoughts in a calm, rational manner, but that doesn't carry emotional force. The recent literature in psychology suggests that we process emotional material more deeply than ordinary thoughts. You want to make your challenging of negative thought patterns into an emotional exercise where you vigorously reject the thinking that is holding you back. It helps to keep in mind that these are the thoughts and behaviors that have sabotaged your trading, cost you money, and threatened your success. If there was a person posing such a threat to you, you would surely confront him and reject his influence. When you personalize your automatic thoughts, you can create more powerful emotional experiences that aid the restructuring of your perception.
Fuck, I was watching Coming to America earlier today. I was like, oh shit. Me and my mom, she loves Coming to America. I was like, damn, Coming to America. Missing my mom, man. Shit. Need to go see her ass. This motherfucker. You plug that bitch. I don't even know if this motherfucker charging. This bitch charging. That bitch on fast. I'll just let her ride out.
180 A Daily Trading Coach. As your own trading coach, you want to use tools such as the journal in a way that helps your trading, not that becomes burdensome. It takes a bit of experimentation to see how the journal best fits into your workflow and routine. An excellent rule is that you won't make significant progress until the time you spend in the self-coaching mode exceeds time you spend in the throes of negative, automatic thinking. The journal is a useful way to ensure that you get that coaching time. Lesson 59. Conduct cognitive experiments to create change. If people are like scientists, who construct their theories of the world based on their observations and experience, then it should be possible to treat their expectations as hypotheses that could either be confirmed or contradicted. When you generate observations and experiences that disconfirm negative thought patterns, you gradually modify those patterns and eliminate their distortions. Sometimes just a review of recent experience in a Socratic dialogue can be enough to challenge and modify negative views. Whatever I do in the market is wrong might be one negative thought that automatically kicks in when the trader is losing money. A simple review of recent results, however, may bring the trader back to reality. Wait a minute, I've had some excellent trades this week. I need to step back and figure out what's working for me. When you're in the midst of negative thoughts, we've seen that it helps to take the role of the observer and ask, is this really true? Is this what I would be saying to someone else in my shoes? Is this what I would want someone else to be saying to me right now? By disconfirming those negative thoughts, you make them less automatic, less able to take control of your decisions. Sometimes, however, constructing specific experiments to challenge your negative thoughts and expectations can provide the right experience to jar and reshape your beliefs. One trader I worked with insisted that diversification mattered to him. He just wanted to be right on his trades. When he saw a good idea in a sector, he bought every name in the group, piling into the trade. Of course, the stocks moved in a correlated way. He probably would have been just as well off if he had bought the sector ETF and had saved some commissions. His thought pattern: this is a great idea, I have to go all in, led him to risk a large amount of his capital on a single idea, even as he tried to convince himself that he was diversified because he held many names in his book.
Oh my goodness.
Remapping the mind 189 for this trader. Good enough wasn't good enough. He couldn't view his trade as a success unless it was a home run. For every home run he hit, however, he took a harrowing loss, leaving him discouraged and worried about his future. His pattern of needing to be all in to make his money back was taking an emotional as well as financial toll. I suggested that we try an experiment. The gist of the experiment was that he had to divide his capital into 4 equal segments. No more than one segment, at his normal leverage, could go into any single trade idea. Thus, if he thought gold was going up, he could use up to a quarter of his normal buying power to buy the gold ETF and or to buy gold miners. If he bought 5 names among the mining stocks, that quarter of his buying power would be divided among the 5. To utilize the other quarters of his buying power, he needed to have different ideas. For instance, while he was long gold, he might have a short position on an individual stock or sector he had just released. An experiment, properly constructed, can provide a powerful, first-hand disconfirmation of our schemas. What this meant, of course, be using all his buying power all the time, because he wouldn't always have four truly independent, non-correlated ideas. When he did deploy a good amount of his capital, it would be evenly distributed among setups and ideas. Some would be devoted to short-term scalps. Other money would be used for longer time frame ideas. Some would be long. Some might be short. This process would even out his returns, enabling him to benefit from the fact that he tended to have more winning trades than losers. By eliminating the large losers through diversification, the trader could actually take less risk, experience lower volatility of daily returns, and make more money. The trader agreed to the experiment for a week. What do I have to lose? Was his attitude. During the week, however, he actually saw that he made more money than he had during any week of the past several months. This result convinced him to continue the experiment. I don't need to be banging my head against the wall, he explained after a few weeks. He was making more money, and he was happier doing it. Had he not actually conducted the experiment, however, he wouldn't have truly known, in his own experience, how wrong his thinking had been. Pointing out the destructiveness of a negative thought pattern, and the benefits of a more positive one, is one thing. Actually seeing it for yourself and experiencing the difference is far more powerful. The successful self-coach creates powerful and vivid experiences that undercut the old habit patterns. 190. The Daily Trading Coach. A common myth held by traders is that they need to be hard on themselves to maintain their motivation. This is another situation where a week's experiment can be helpful. Make a conscious effort to stay constructive and positive every day for a week, and let's see how you feel and how you trade. When a trader sees that when he gives up the negative pattern, he actually improves his concentration in the process of his trading, he gains considerable incentive to extend the experiment. Your assignment, as your own trading coach, is to create a simple experiment, even if it's just for the span of a single day, in which you disrupt the negative thought patterns you've identified and just see what happens to your mood and your trading. If you don't like the results of the experiment, you can always go back to old ways and retool. If, however, you find that you can focus on trading better, that you stick to your plans better, and feel better about your work as a result, then you can decide to extend the experiment in time and perhaps also to other facets of your life. Our negative thought patterns have been the result of learning. Surely we are capable of acquiring new ways of viewing our trading and ourselves. Well-constructed experiments provide us with the catalyst for changing that viewing, and that can change our doing. Coaching Q. Every trading rule can be turned into a cognitive experiment. See what happens when you follow the rule religiously. Your trading results, your mood, and your decision making. Many times, traders harbor fears in the backs of their minds as to negative consequences of sticking by their rules. By constructing experiments around the rules, we can see, firsthand, that these consequences are manageable and nothing to be feared. Lesson 60. Build positive thinking. The lessons for cognitive coaching thus far have emphasized ways to identify and restructure negative, automatic thoughts. What, however, of positive thought patterns? How can we become more intentional in building these? Fortunately, many of the cognitive techniques that work well to unlearn negative thought patterns can also be used effectively to cement positive ways to view self and world. Note that
I'll be soaking it up. And there's a couple more. There's a few more notches I can crank it up and make it faster, but this is, at that point I just can't really comprehend what she's saying. But I can feel what she's saying. I'm soaking all that shit up she's saying. That being said, it's a lot of, you got to read a book. I got to read a book, 10 to 15 times to actually know what a bitch back and forth. This is my first read, but I'm just soaking it up. I'm listening what the fuck she's saying. And I'll just pick up, good things that I like, what I mean? I'll remember or I'll bookmark it, you know what I mean? But yeah, I got hip. I can read. I can let this bitch read fast. I can understand what she's saying. The faster the better I get out of that book. Like this is, I think this book is like 300 some change. So it's like, I think maybe 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours.
Remapping the mind 191 process is not positive thinking. It
The
is
faster the better.
also reinforces unrealistic expectations, setting traders up for disappointment. Rather, positive thinking is thinking that leads to constructive responses to challenging situations. For instance, a trader may make a rookie error and might chide himself for the mistake, using the incident to firm up his execution and attention to detail. This is very positive. A trader might also simply tell himself, "You're really not trading well. You can do better than this." That might be an accurate assessment and a prod toward greater motivation. Positive thinking is not necessarily optimistic thinking. It is constructive thought. How do you know the schemas and thinking patterns that are best for you and your trading? Fortunately, we can create a customized cognitive journal precisely for this purpose. Recall that in the traditional journal, the first column describes specific incidents of problematic trading. The second column summarizes the self-talk associated with the incidents, and the third column lays out the consequences of self-talk. To create a format to track positive thinking, we use the journal to highlight episodes of positive trading. The first column describes what was happening in the markets at the time of the exemplary trading. The second column features the self-talk that occurred before and during these incidents. The third identified to good trading practice. In other words, you use the journal to highlight what you're doing when you're trading at your best. Observe that this doesn't mean that you only focus on your profitable trade entries will be profitable occasions. Rather, you want to focus on all occasions when you traded well. If you took normal losses, for instance, if you took a trade with very favorable risk reward but were stopped out at preset level and later re-entered the idea for a gain, which would be a very positive episode of trading. The role of the journal is to isolate the thought processes that enabled you to keep your losses small and your trading flexible. The cognitive journal can be used to identify the best practices in our thinking and trading. One example of such a positive-oriented journal appears below. Once again, we are keeping the journal entries detailed so that we can crystallize in our minds the kinds of self-talk that are associated with our best.
Apple's coming out with a new iMac. I'm gonna buy that motherfucker. I'm gonna buy the new iMac. It's like 3,000. 27 inch. I'm gonna get that motherfucker. Comes out next month on my birthday, so I'm gonna get it.
192 The Daily Trading Coach. Trading. Some of the most useful entries will come from occasions when we don't make our usual mistakes and manage to break free of all unhelpful patterns. Situation. The market gapped up at the open and continued to rise before I could get into the trade. Self-talk. I'm afraid I'm going to miss this move, but I've seen what happens when I chase a runaway market. I'm going to wait for the first pullback towards zero in the New York Stock Exchange tick and then see if that price level holds when I enter on the next bounce. It's more important to get a good price on my trades than to be involved in every move. We just broke important levels in all the indexes. I just paid for useful information. The market is going to test its overnight lows if we see continued selling pressure. Trading outcome, the market pulled back more sharply than I expected and made a feeble bounce. I saw that the buying was not continuing and actually sold the bounce for a nice scalp. Staying out of the market, being okay with the possibility of missing a trade, and sticking to my execution rules kept me flexible and made me some money. I waited for the first bounce and sold the market, riding the trade down to the overnight lows. I looked at the losing trade as a useful piece of market data instead of as a failure. That led to a good trade. I was stopped out of a trade within a few minutes of entry. As large selling pressure entered the market, notice how the journal highlights the specific thoughts that led to the good trading decisions. By rehearsing this thinking, you can turn it into a positive set of habit patterns. Some of the best ways of thinking, I've found, have come from my interactions with successful traders. Talking with them has provided a model for how I can talk to myself during challenging trading occasions. For instance, one trader set his entry price at a level that would ensure a favorable risk reward for the trade and said, "The market has to come to me." Instead of telling himself that he had to chase after opportunity, he insisted that he would only play when the market action fit his parameters. This kept him out of bad trades, but it also gave him an ongoing sense of control over his trading. It is difficult to feel stressed out by markets if you feel in control of your risk. I eventually adapted this way of thinking to my own entries, simply by never entering long trades on a high New York Stock Exchange tick reading and never selling the market on low readings. Bye. Remapping the mind 193 Making the market come to me. I found that I greatly reduced the heat I took on trades. Maximizing profits. The market has to come to me became one of my cognitive best practices. Your assignment is to identify the ways of thinking that put you into your best trades and enable you to manage risk most effectively. Once you identify how you think at your best, you have a model that you can replicate day after day in your trading, turning virtues into positive habits. You don't have to be mired in cognitive distortions to benefit from a cognitive journal. Use the journal as a discovery tool for your best practices. It's an exercise even the most experienced, successful traders can benefit from. Coaching Q. A trader I worked with used the phrase "make them pay" and other choice colorful phrases when he saw that the longs or shorts were overextended in a market. He would not exit until he saw evidence of high volume puking from the traders running from cover. The idea of "make them pay" engaged his competitive instinct and kept him in winning trades. Frequently, he would add to his position on retracements, eager to make them pay even more. You may find that you use similar phrases during your best trades. Cement those phrases into cognitive patterns that you can reverse. The phrases keep you grounded in best practices. Resources. The Become Your Own Trading Coach blog is the primary supplemental resource for this book. You can find links and additional posts on the topic of coaching processes at the homepage on the blog for Chapter 6. HTTP. Become Your Own Trading Coach blogspot.com/2008/08/Daily Trading Coach Chapter 6. Links.html. More material on cognitive approaches to change can be found in my chapter on cognitive techniques for enhancing performance in Enhanced Trader Performance. See also the chapter on cognitive therapy, Introduction to Theory and Practice by Judith S. Beck and Peter J. Beeling in the Art and Science of Brief Psychotherapies. American Psychiatric Press, 2004. Of additional interest might be the article Remapping the Mind from the articles section of my personal site, www.brettsteenberger.com articles HTM.
Gotta love Siri.
194 The Daily Trading Coach. I like books that interview successful traders and portfolio managers. These books provide positive models for how to view markets and trading decisions. Among the most popular are The Market Wizards books by Jack Kutcher, Inside the House of Money by Stephen Drobny, Wiley, 2006, and Hedge Hunters by Catherine Burton, Bloomberg, 2007. Other models can be found in the writings of the contributors to Chapter 9. HTTP. Become Your Own Trading Coach blogspot.com/2008/08/contributors to Daily Trading Coach HTML. See also the Daily Speculation site, www.dailyspeculations.com, for interesting ways to think about markets and trading.
Yeah, but so yeah, they're coming out with that new iMac, right? Next month. But I'm not gonna buy it unless I make, if I can make 10,000, 10, 15, 20,000, then I'll fuck around and buy some. But that's $3,000 of capital I could be using into the game. So I'm not gonna fuck around. I'm good with the laptop, but if I can make big money, I'll. If I can make 20,000, yeah, I'll run it. But if not, fuck that. I'm good.
Chapter 7. Learning new action patterns, behavioral approaches to self-coaching without self-knowledge. Without understanding the working and functions of his machine, man cannot be free. He cannot govern himself and he will always remain a slave. G.I. Gurdjieff. Behavioral methods in psychology are the outgrowth of early research into animal learning, emphasizing the roles of conditioning and reinforcement in the unlearning and learning of action tendencies. Modern cognitive behavioral approaches to change tree thinking as a kind of behavior, making use of such methods as imagery and self-statements to modify our reactions to situations. Like the cognitive restructuring framework from Chapter 6, behavioral methods make extended.
What you doing?
Driving to go get my best friend.
Oh, okay. You too.
Did I fall asleep on Facebook with you earlier today?
Yeah, you just waking up?
That'll tell you how tired I am. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he was done, huh? He was lit up.
I remember pausing the phone to go and look at something, and all of a sudden, the phone hung up, and I was like, Budget, I'll call you back when I wake up.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you take your panties off. Let me see it.
How did you find out I was asleep?
What do you FaceTime me, remember? Yeah.
No, when I was asleep when we were on the phone, you said I fell asleep on the phone.
Oh no, yeah. Well, so I think somebody might have called and they fucked up the connection, and then you text me and said you'll call me when you wake up. Stupid motherfuckers calling while we FaceTiming.
You're stupid. Oh my god. My best friend is really literally irking my nerve today.
Yeah, she think you a girlfriend.
She kind of is.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she doing it like that. You guys do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You guys do it. You guys do it. You guys do it.
Which is so fucked up.
Did you guys do it in the car? Y'all, you guys did it in the car, right?
How'd you know?
You told me. Yeah.
Fuck! I should not be telling people my business. That's so inappropriate.
Yeah. Girl on girl action, man. Shit.
No,
Yeah.
because everybody, like all the guys were high. They smoked, they're smokers, and like I smoked a little bit, not really. I'm not really smoking like that, just occasionally. It's basically socially, and the girls were kind of, we all drank like champagne, like daiquiris, like girlish shit, and because I couldn't do like hard alcohol because I had my kids. And she was texting me the whole time we were sitting there, like inappropriate ass shit.
Yeah.
So then she was like, "Can you drive me to the store real quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was gonna get another bottle of champagne, and we went to the store. We didn't really make it to the store.
Right. Right.
So this is the one that I told you. Hygiene is like, she's not stinky like armpit stinky and stuff like that. She's like vaginal stinky, and I don't know if I'm gonna do that with her in a while. So I was like, yeah, no, that's out for sure. Not giving you, yeah, for sure not about to do that. So she gave me head in the backseat of my car.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we came home, and everyone was like, you guys have been gone for 45 minutes. I was like, I know for a fact it's been 45 minutes, but everyone already knows because everyone knows that she basically quote unquote is in love with me or whatever. So right now I'm going to pick her up to go get her cake from her house, and then she's like, my mom's not there. I'm like, I'm not in the mood. I'm tired.
So yeah, I'm just reading. I got live. I'm live, so they hanging out with me while I'm studying. I got Siri.
This is all on YouTube, right?
Yeah, they can barely hear you though, but if they do hear you, it's at a minimal. But anyways, I got Siri reading the shit to me. I gotta make a video, so I ain't doing shit. So hey, this is live. That's what we doing. Yeah, but anyways.
Yeah. I didn't feel like being humped on by a guy, so I was like, I'll take the girl.
Yeah, who's gonna hump on you though? What guy?
My mom's son's there, which is my ex-boyfriend of 3 years.
Oh.
She asked me today. I was like, yeah, no.
Oh, he asked you to get down?
No, he came in my room. He knocked on my bedroom door, and I was like, what's up?
Awesome.
And he was like, so what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. Going to see Michaela, blah, blah, blah. He's like, that's a bird. He's like, I need to have sex. I said, what are you telling me that for? Don't you have some pictures or something? He's like, you've been acting really different. And I'm like, no, you're used to having your way, and now you don't have your way with me anymore because I realized don't fuck with now it's a problem for you.
Exes are exes, boy. But
No, it's not. It's not that like everybody fucks on their ex, but it's like when you like when I'm mentally turned off by you, physically that shit doesn't do nothing for me. Like I'm mentally turned off by you. I don't like him as a man, like as a human being. So
yeah, he
I
be
don't.
beating your ass. That's a turn off, man.
Yeah, I don't want you on
Yeah,
top of me. Like what the fuck? I
yeah,
don't.
man. That ain't no man. That's a bitch. You know, if a man gotta beat, hey, if a man gotta beat, beat on your girl, and it's your girl, and he beat on your ass. But
It's a
no,
very
I
different
get your
matter.
chick. Yeah, I get your chick. Yeah, I get that. But fuck.
No, it's not. It's not about me being a chick either. It's
No, I'm
about
talking about your
I
girl,
got
man. Your girl was trying to ask for him to serve you, and he was looking at it okay for me to serve her.
as he should.
Yeah,
As he should. Yeah, you need to be in pocket, ex-boyfriend or not. This is my best friend. We all had a threesome before. Okay,
yeah.
what you fucking do? But like I said, she's asking you to serve her a plate. She's being funny and she's drunk. So I'm telling her like, stop, just fix your plate or have your boyfriend fix it. You're being disrespectful. Your boyfriend's sitting right there. She's not listening to that. And on top of that, yeah, ex-boyfriend or not, you're my ex. You need to stay in your lane. So yeah, I did tell him that, and he looked at me like, "Is it okay?" Because he knows I'm not playing those games. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. Anyways, so
So, anyways,
study time for me.
you clearly only do study.
Yeah.
I got the fans on. So yeah,
I won't be studying when you get here though.
we'll see. Hopefully, you don't act the way you've been acting. I'm about to buy my flight next week. I actually was trying to leave this weekend. My mom's like, "No, you haven't spent any time with us." I'm like, "Oh."
No, I think you should. I think you should leave this weekend.
No, I think I shouldn't. I think I should spend time with my child, and I think that you should be understanding. Because that's why you've been acting up, is because you don't care about anyone but yourself, because you're selfish. Yeah, that's the truth. I said it. Oh my god, how am I supposed to get in this bitch's gate? Oh, I hate when she does makes me do dumb stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, you should leave this weekend. You should leave tomorrow.
Not gonna happen. No.
Well, leave earlier. I'm saying like leave earlier and sometime next week. Next week, I said leave early. Instead
No,
of.
it's Archer's birthday next week. I have to please everyone. I came home for Thanksgiving, did my part, stayed here with Michaela.
Well,
did
just
my
leave
part.
early as you can. How about that? When you ever
We're
get done.
getting
Yeah.
tattoos tomorrow.
Yeah, whenever you get done,
It's
man.
your birthday, and then I have to work, and then I finally go on a family
Yeah.
vacation.
So leave as soon as possible.
Whatever. I will leave as soon as possible. Malay, any other demands all of you guys have?
No, just leave ASAP.
Anyways. There's only one of me. And trying to please like at least 6 people. When a cup of bins on a bench. Alright, okay, so let me hear. Alright, I'm gonna call her to come out and then I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, Miami is legit. Yeah, Vegas ain't shit. Vegas is cool, man, but it's a fucking. It ain't. It ain't all. I shouldn't say that. Vegas is straight, but Miami's a whole different animal, man. It's a whole different animal. It's a whole different animal.
196. The Daily Trading Coach. Summarized in Enhancing Trader Performance, pound for pound, so to speak. I find these the most useful methods in the coaching arsenal. Let's take a look at how you can master these methods for yourself. Lesson 61. Understand your contingencies. The essence of behavioral psychology is that we share many of the learning mechanisms found in the animal world. My cats Ginna and Ginger, for instance, have learned that when I get up at 5 a.m., I will give them some moist food for their breakfast, as they come from wherever they've been sleeping and hustle into the kitchen, looking up at me with expectation. Because of repetition, they have learned to associate my walking around area of quiet with being fed. This is the essence of stimulus-response learning. Animals learn to associate response patterns to stimulus situations. The contingencies between situation and response are reinforced over time, strengthening the learned pattern. Much of our behavior consists of simple responses to particular situations. In traditional behaviorism, it is not necessary to explain these learned connections with reference to the mental states of the learners. The cats don't explain and I am rising for the day. Nor does reason enter their decision to come to the portion of the house where we keep the moist food rather than the dry. Rather, the stimulus of hearing me awaken, much as hearing a particular old song may trigger associated memories. The cognitive restructuring approach to coachers. The goal is to unlearn associated connections that bring negative outcomes and acquire new connections that will be more adaptive. In behavioral psychology, unlearning is the flip side of learning. If we don't reinforce a particular contingency over time, the associated links are weakened, and the response patterns eventually die out. If I were to ring a bell each evening and feed the cats but then not feed them in the morning, eventually they would stop coming to the kitchen in the morning. Instead, they would learn to come running at the sound of the bell. You build a behavior pattern by reinforcing it. You divest yourself of the pattern by removing reinforcement. Many negative behavior patterns in trading, from this perspective, occur because they are either positively reinforced or negatively.
This motherfucker's talking about cats. Fuck you, why are we talking about cats? You comparing us to cats. What the fuck? This fucking guy.
Learning new action patterns 197 reinforced. This distinction is important and not well appreciated. Positive reinforcement is like the feeding of the cats. People come to associate something favorable with a particular stimulus situation. Thus, for example, I may associate my early morning market preparation with the particular emotional state of readiness and mastery. That linkage has me looking forward to the preparation time and sticking with my routines. The contingencies between being prepared and feeling good or being prepared and making good trades are reinforced over time until they become ingrained habits. Negative reinforcement is a bit subtler, and it lies at the heart of why traders seem to cling to patterns that bring them losses. In negative reinforcement, it is the removal of a negative set of consequences, not the appearance of something positive, that strengthens the bond between stimulus situation and response. Let's say I am in a trade that is going against me and I bail out of the trade at the worst possible time, when everyone else is selling. Intellectually I may know that, on average, this is an inopportune time to join the crowd, but the trade is so painful at that point that the exit feels, for the moment, like a relief. Drug addicts commonly begin their habits first by seeking a high, positive reinforcement, then by seeking to avoid withdrawal. Negative reinforcement. The avoidance of pain is a powerful human reinforcement, and it shapes learned action patterns just as effectively as the introduction of pleasure. Many destructive trading behaviors are the result of pain avoidance. One of the most devastating examples of learned behavior patterns in trading is the association of thrills and excitement with the assumption of risk. When traders take too much risk, they experience profits and losses that are very large relative to their portfolio size. Some traders may find these swings stimulating, to the point where they become their own reinforcements. These traders find themselves trading, not for profits, but for thrills. Inevitably, the law of averages catches up to such traders. When these traders go through a series of losing trades, days, or weeks, their high leverage works against them and they blow up. This is not because thrill-seeking traders are inherently self-destructive. Rather, it is because they have learned, through repeated emotional experience, the linkage between risk-taking and excitement. Research suggests that contingencies between situations and responses are more quickly and deeply learned if they are accompanied by strong emotion. This process is how people can become addicted to powerful drugs after only a few uses. It is also how we can become fearful and paralyzed by a single traumatic incident, an animal that would take weeks. 198. The Daily Trading Coach. To learn a new trick and learn to avoid tainted food after getting sick on it just once. Emotion accelerates behavioral learning. This is the source of many trading problems, and it also opens the door to powerful behavioral coaching methods. As your own trading coach, it's important that you understand your own connection between your expectations and your behaviors. Instead of thinking of your trading problems as irrational, think of them as learned patterns that are supported by something positive that you gain or something negative that you avoid. Something is reinforcing your worst trading behaviors. Once you understand that contingency, you are well positioned to remove the reinforcement and introduce new reinforcers of desired trading patterns. Behavioral coaching is about reinforcing the right behaviors and removing reinforcement from the wrong ones. To get started, think back to your most recent episode of Truly Bad Trading. I can recall, for instance, a recent incident in which I so convinced myself of a turnaround in a falling market that I held a position well beyond the original stop loss point. What is the reinforcement in that situation? In my case, I had been on a nice winning streak and I didn't want that to end. I associated getting out of the trade with breaking my streak. As long as I was in the trade, I could retain hope that my streak would be intact. That reasoning makes no sense, of course, and, if pursued to its logical conclusion, I could have given back every ounce of profit I made during the streak just by holding the one bad trade. But the emotional connection was strong. I was attached to the winning, so much so that its pull was greater than the pull of simply trading well. So take a look at your most recent episode of Horrific Trading. What gain were you associating with the bad trading? What negatives were you looking to avoid? What was the contingency at work? As previous lessons. Coaching Q. Identify the emotions that are most painful for you and then track their occurrence during your trading. For some traders, this will be the pain of losing. Other traders respond negatively to boredom or to the helplessness of uncertainty. Many times your worst trading decisions will be the result of trying to rid yourself of those emotions. This negative reinforcement leads to hasty, unplanned trading behaviors that seem to make no sense in retrospect. If you can identify the negative reinforcement at work, you can more consciously and constructively deal with the difficult feelings. Learning new action patterns 199 have emphasized. The first step in the change process is to become our own observers and recognize the patterns that hold us back. Your behaviors, as irrational and destructive as they seem, are there for a reason. A careful behavioral analysis will reveal the reasons, and will position you well for changing those. Lesson 62. Identify subtle contingencies. The linkages between situations and our behavioral responses to those linkages are
Shade, man.
sometimes quite clear. When traders experience fear in a volatile market and prematurely exit a position, we can readily appreciate that they are managing their emotions, not their capital. The relief of being out of a fast market outweighs objective considerations of risk and reward. Other times, the contingencies that govern our behavior are far more subtle and difficult to identify. For that reason, such patterns can be extremely challenging to change. If we don't know what we're responding to, it's difficult to shape a different response pattern. Subtle shifts of mood are one example of stimulus situations that could affect decision making without our awareness. For instance, some individuals are emotionally reactive to the amount of sunlight they receive and can experience winter blues or even seasonal affective problems during periods of low sunlight. This disruption can affect a trader's concentration and motivation, interfering with his research and preparation. Similarly, family conflicts can affect mood, which in turn affects trading. One trader I worked with found himself less patient with his ideas, entering an exit time before his signals unfolded. When we looked into the problem, it was clearly episodic, not something that occurred every day. During periods of conflict at home, he was more irritated, and that manifested itself as impatience in his trading. The problem patterns in our trading are often triggered by subtle shifts in mood and energy level. Many physical cues can also affect mood and cognitive functioning. These cues include fatigue, hunger, muscle tension, and fitness. I know that I process market data much more effectively and efficiently when I am alert. Anything that affects my energy level adversely will also impair my ability to synthesize large amounts of market information. This is not only because I am less cognitively efficient, but because lack of alertness also. 200. The daily trading coach affects my mood. In a more fatigued state, I tend to feel less emotionally energetic and optimistic. I won't look for that creative market idea. Become more discouraged and risk averse after losses. If I'm not clued into my physical state and its relationship to my mood, I'll simply think that these periods of lesser performance are random. In fact, most mind and body shifts are a stimulus response bound as any animal behavior in a learning experiment. As I emphasized in the psychology of trading, a great deal of our learning is state-based. What we know in one state of mind and body can be quite different from what we process in another state. When I am least tending to favorite music, my mind is expansive. I can see broad market relationships and formulate big picture ideas to guide the week's trade. In a state when I'm pressed for time or distracted by an irritating situation, I suffer from tunnel vision, losing the large perspective. On those occasions, I'm much more likely to make impulsive trades, responding to recent price action rather than broad market dynamics. Often those trades lack good risk-reward qualities. They are much more likely to be losers than winners. I refer to these subtle environmental cues as triggers, because they can set off behaviors that are unplanned and unwanted. When I'm irritated, for instance, I've learned to rid myself of the feeling by simply pushing aside whatever is bothering me. This reaction is a classic example of negative reinforcement. If the thought of doing errands irritates me because I have other things I want to be doing, I quickly push the errands away and focus on what I want to do. The errands don't get done, of course, and loom as a chronic irritant. My pattern of procrastination is clearly negative reinforcement based, but it is not helpful. It leaves me with a lingering negative mood and a backlog of unfinished business. Worse still, continually reinforced.
Week went
The negative
good.
mood can become a pattern in my trading.
Real
It's not too
good.
great a leap from procrastinating over errands to procrastinating about acting on a losing position. Many of the behavioral patterns that interfere with our day-to-day lives also find expression in our trading. Sometimes, when coaching yourself, you won't know what is triggering your most troubling trading behaviors. They seem to come out of nowhere. That's when it's most important to use a trading journal to catalog all the possible factors, physical, situational, emotional, relationship-based, trading-based, that might be associated with your problematic trading. When you engage in this cataloging, you want as open a mind as possible. Often, the patterns will be different from ones that you've been considering. One trader I worked with experienced trading problems for no apparent learning new action patterns. 201 reason. Only after considerable review did we figure out that these problems
Alright, bro.
occurred when he experienced problems with the firm's management. The frustration led him to seek gratification from his trading, impelling him to overtrade. He didn't make a conscious connection between the two. Rather, he was trading to manage an emotional state in a simple stimulus response manner. The cataloging you undertake in your journal may need to cover a considerable period of time before you notice patterns. What you're likely to find, however, is that how you trade is affected by your physical and emotional state, which is affected by situational factors at home and work. Understanding these contingencies enables you to build some firewalls into your trading practice, as we will see in the next several lessons. Without such understanding, however, you're likely to blindly repeat history, losing a measure of self-determination. It's when we create our own contingencies that we truly possess free will and the ability to pursue our chosen goals. Coaching Q. Track your daily physical well-being, your state of alertness, your energy level, your overall feeling of health. Against your daily trading results, many times fatigue, physical tension, and ill health contribute to lapses in concentration and a relapse into old, unhelpful behavior patterns. It is difficult to make and sustain mental efforts when you lack proper sleep or feel down from a lack of exercise. Very often, our moods are influenced by our physical states, even by factors as subtle as what and how much we eat. When you keep a record of your daily performance as a function of your physical condition, you can see these relationships for yourself and begin preventive maintenance by keeping body, and thus mind, in peak operating condition. Lesson 63. Harness the power of social learning. One of the greatest mistakes traders can make in coaching themselves is to work on their craft in isolation. It is easy to become isolated as a trader, particularly when that all it takes is a computer and internet connection in one's home to access the most liquid markets. During my work with trading firms, however, I have consistently seen how access to other professionals aids the learning process. From peer professionals you obtain role modeling, encouragement, and valuable feedback on ideas. A social network of 202. The Daily Trading Coach Traders also offers powerful behavioral advantages that can aid your self-coaching. Thanks to Web 2.0 and the many online resources available, such social networking can occur virtually, not just within a trading firm. Psychologist Albert Bandura was one of the first behaviorists to observe how reinforcement in a social context can aid the acquisition of new behaviors. When we observe others rewarded for positive behaviors, the bias experience becomes part of our learning. Similarly, when we see others making mistakes and paying the price for these, we learn to avoid a similar fate. In this way, your learning becomes a model for others and theirs provides models for you. Experience is multiplied many times over, accelerating the learning process. Social learning multiplies experience, shortens learning curves. Since I first began full-time work as a coach for trading firms in 2004, my own trading has changed radically. I have learned to factor intermarket relationships into my trading, and I have learned to think in terms of risk-adjusted returns, with each trade carefully calibrated for both risk and reward. I am keenly aware of the effect of position sizing on my returns, and I carefully track my trading results to identify periods of shifting performance that might be attributable to market changes. These changes all resulted from observing successful professionals across a variety of trading settings, from proprietary trading shops to investment banks. Since instituting these changes, I've enjoyed greater profitability with smaller drawdowns. Seeing how the best traders manage their capital provided me with powerful lessons that I could apply to my own trading. Perhaps my most effective learning, however, came from observing failed traders. I have seen many traders lose their jobs and careers as the result of faulty risk management and an inability to adapt to market shifts. Those failure experiences were painful for the traders, but also for me, as I developed close relationships with many of them. Their pain and the crushing of their dreams was powerful learning for me. I vowed to never make those mistakes myself. We learn most from emotional experience, including the experiences of others. When you share ideas in a social network, including self-coaching efforts, you obtain many learning experiences that become your own. Vickery Oz learning is still learning, whether it's learning concrete trading skills or learning ways of handling performance pressures. One of the real values of Learning New Action Patterns 203 published interviews with successful traders, such as found in the Market Wizard series, is that you can learn from the experience of others when you actually observe this experience in real time. However, the contingent size are much more immediate and powerful. How a trader in the hole pulls himself out, or how a trader adapts to a changing market, or how a trader successfully prepares for a market day, all provide models for your own behavior. You learn, not just from their actions, but also from observing the results of their actions. Once you enter a social network of capable and motivated peers, the praise and encouragement of the group become powerful reinforcers. Most of us want to be respected by our fellow professionals, and the support of valued peers can be a meaningful reward. This reinforcer occurs among children, who find that they are praised by teachers, parents, and peers for good behavior and not praised when they behave badly. Over time, this differential reinforcement creates associative links for the child, so that he will do the right things even if no immediate praise is available. Similarly, young, developing traders will absorb the praise of mentors like a sponge. This helps them associate the right trading behaviors with favorable outcomes. When you share successes with fellow professionals, you turn social interaction into social learning. Find experienced traders who will not be shy in telling you when you are making mistakes. In their lessons, you will learn to teach yourself. For this lesson, I encourage you to locate online networks of traders or assemble of your own, in which there is openness about trading successes and failures. Online forums are a possible venue. You can also connect with readers of trading-oriented blogs who participate in Discus Science, or perhaps you will choose to write your own blog, openly sharing your trading experiences and attracting like-minded peers. When you network with traders who have similar levels of motivation, commitment, and ability, as well as compatible trading styles and markets, you can establish a framework in which learning follows from shared ideas and experiences. We've seen in Chapter 5 how relationships can be powerful agents of change. In the behavioral sense, you want to be part of the learning curves of other traders, so that you can absorb their lessons. A great start is to establish such a mutual learning framework with just one other compatible trader. Their emotional learning experiences become yours. Yours become theirs. Their victories spur your ability to do the right things. Your accomplishments show them the path to success. This effectively doubles your behavioral learning, supercharging your self-coaching efforts. 204 The Daily Trading Coach Coaching Queue. An increasing number of professional trading firms, particularly proprietary trading shops, are creating online access to their traders, trading, and resources. Several of these firms are mentioned in Chapter 9. Read the blogs from these firms and participate in their learning activities is an excellent way to connect with other traders and model their best practices. Lesson 64. Shape your trading behaviors. Two children, two different homes, both improve their test grades in math, both fail in English. In the first home, the parents praise the improvement in math and encourage similar progress in English. In the second home, the parents call attention to the English grade and demand to know why the child couldn't pick up that grade as well. Which child will be most likely to show further school progress? Behavioral psychologists who utilize behavior modification as a means for altering action patterns would support the first set of parents. Positive reinforcement, as a whole, works better than punishment. If we reinforce the right behaviors, the child will learn to do the right thing. If we punish the wrong behaviors, the child will learn to fear us. Nothing positive is necessarily learned. Punishment fails because it does not model and reinforce the right behaviors. Many traders seek to motivate themselves more through punishment than praise. These traders focus more on their losing trades than on their winners. They spend more time on weak areas of trading than building and extending their strengths. Such traders learn to associate unpleasant things with trading. These traders anticipate criticism and punishment and find it difficult to stay wholeheartedly engaged with the learning process. We can see such dynamics at work in the journals Many Traders Key. One page after another details what the trader did wrong and what he needs to do to improve. Self-evaluations emphasize the bad trading, everything that could have been better. It's little wonder that these traders find it difficult to sustain the process of maintaining a journal. After all, who wants to face negativity and psychological punishment every working day? Learning new action patterns 205 Many traders fail to sustain work on their trading because they find little positive reinforcement in their work. Trainers use frequent rewards to teach fundamentals tricks. The trainers don't expect the dog to, say, jump through the hoops all at once. Rather, they will first give a reward each time the dog approaches the hoop. Then the trainer will wait for the dog to go through the hoop before they dole out the reward. Then they'll lift the hoop just a couple of inches and reward the dog when it jumps through the hoop. Then they'll add a second hoop and a third. They'll raise the hoops a little at a time, all the while requiring new behaviors that are closer to the desired endpoint before giving the reward. This process is known as shaping. Trainers shape animal behaviors by rewarding successive approximations to desired ends. In a classroom, a teacher might first reward a disruptive student for 5 minutes of quiet attention. Later, it will take 10 minutes for the student to earn the reward. Eventually, the reward will require an entire class period of good behavior. Frequent flyer programs at airlines aren't so different. At first, you earn bonuses for simply joining the programs. Only after you ride the airline regularly. However, do you earn later rewards? If you want the greatest perks, you have to shape your riding habits to fit the program. Shaping is a testament to the power of positive reinforcement. Imagine punishing the dog for not going through the hoops. The chances are good that the dog would simply cower in the presence of the trainer. It certainly wouldn't figure out the right behaviors from the punishment of the wrong. When you are your own trading coach, you are the trainer as well as trainee. You are teaching yourself to jump through the hoops of good trading. For this reason, you need an approach to coaching that is grounded in positive reinforcement. Your coaching must stay relentlessly positive, building desired trading behaviors, not punishing the wrong ones. You can keep a positive tone to the learning process by shaping your trading behaviors, rewarding small, incremental progress toward the desired ends. The first place to implement the shaping approach is in a journal. As an experiment and a worthwhile exercise, try keeping a positive trading journal for a few weeks. Divide your trading into several categories, such as our research and preparation, our quality of trade ideas, ideas that carry conviction. 206. The Daily Trading Coach. Our number of diversified, unrelated trade ideas, our quality of entries, favorable risk reward for trades, low amount of heat taken per trade, our sizing management of trades, scaling in out by plan criteria, our execution of exits, following profit target stop losses. Each journal entry then focuses on what you did right in each of those categories each week. You write down, in specific detail, your best performance in each of these areas and then you review your entries before trading the next week, with the aim of continuing the positives. As the previous lesson noted, this use of positive reinforcement and shaping is even more powerful if you conduct your assessment in a SOCIAL framework, where you exchange your weekly positive report cards with one or more valued peers. This framework allows you to support the progress of others, even as they reward yours. One of the better pieces of self-coaching from early in my trading career occurred when I set a goal of reaching a certain size in my trading account. I normally don't emphasize PL goals, but in this case I wanted a tangible focus on steady profitability. Once I reached the goal, my commitment was to withdraw a portion of money from the trading account and use it for something enjoyable for the family. This emphasis rewarded my longer-term progress, but also brought my family into the positive reinforcement. When I finish this book, one of my personal goals will be to lose some weight. Long hours in airplanes and hotels between working with traders have taken their toll. I've promised myself a new wardrobe from a Chicago tailor if I reach my weight goals. Each week I'll be weighing myself and tracking my progress. With every opportunity to snack, I'll be thinking about that new wardrobe and how I would feel if I didn't make weight that week. There's little doubt in my mind that I'll reach my goal. Tangible rewards for your success among the strongest positive reinforcers. The key to making a positive journal work is shaping. At first, you jot down entries for even very small things that you did right. Later, you only make notations of larger examples of virtuous trading. If you conduct the shaping process properly, you'll always have good things to write about, even on losing days. This process ensures that you're always learning, always building on strengths, always keeping your motivation up. The difficult part about self-coaching isn't just making progress, it's sustaining the progress. Progress is much easier to accomplish when your focus is building yourself up, not tearing yourself down. Learning new action patterns. 200. What is more for your self-coaching progress? A vacation with loved ones? A new car? One trader I work with donates a portion of his profits to a charity he deeply believes in. Helping them out inspires his own efforts. It helps to reinforce the small steps of progress via shaping, but it also helps to have a larger goal that you're working toward. A goal that is meaningful for you. Remind yourself periodically of the goal. Track your progress toward the goal. The psychologist Abraham Maslow recognized clearly, we perform at our best when we are impelled toward positive goals, not driven by deficits and unmet needs. Lesson 65. The conditioning of markets. A large part of money management follows from a deep appreciation of fat tails. Market returns are not normally distributed. They show a higher proportion of extreme occurrences than you would expect from a simple flipping of coins. This is true across all time frames. The odds of a multiple standard deviation move against you or for you are sufficiently high that, if you're in the market frequently over a long period of time, you will surely encounter those periods in which markets stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. The distribution of market returns is also led to Kurdic. It is far more peaked around the median than a normal distribution. This implies that market moves revert to a mean more often than we would normally expect by chance. Just as a market seems to be moving in one direction, trending, it reverses course and finishes little changed. It is difficult to imagine a situation better designed to create frustration. Markets produce large moves more often than would be expected if returns were distributed normally, which leads traders to seek large, trend-line moves. But markets also revert to mean returns more often than we would expect in normal distributions, creating many false trends. If you trade a counter-trend strategy, you run the risk of being blown out by a multiple standard deviation move. If you try to jump aboard trends, you'll find yourself chopped to pieces during false breakouts. The very structure of market returns ensures a high degree of psychological challenge for traders. 208. The Daily Trading Coach. The tendency of markets to make extreme moves amid frequent mean reversion creates interesting and important psychological challenges that affect self-coaching. To fully appreciate this, we need to understand the dynamics of behavioral conditioning. Let's say that each time I ring a bell, I hit you over the head. Soon, you'll learn to duck as soon as you hear the bell. That is a conditioned response. Days later, you might be in a different location and will still duck if the bell sounds. It's automatic, not a behavior guided by explicit reasoning. You've learned to associate bell and pain, just as Pavlov's dogs associated a ringing with the appearance of meat. Bell rings, dogs salivate. Bell rings, you protect yourself. Now let's take our experiment a step further. I ring a similar but different bell and once again hit you over the head. Before long, you learn to duck whenever you hear any bell. This is called generalization. Your conditioned responses, the ducking, have now extended to a class of stimuli similar to the original one. Much of what we call traumatic stress is the result of such conditioning. In the Psychology of Trading book, I mentioned my car accident in which I was thrown from a vehicle while riding as a passenger. Just as a result of that single, powerful event, developed an anxiety response anytime I subsequently sat in the passenger seat of a car, even when the vehicle wasn't moving. I had learned an associated connection between being a passenger and extreme danger. The conditioning stuck with me even though I intellectually knew it made no sense. Many of our extreme reactions to market events are the result of prior conditioning. Powerful positive emotional events can yield the same kind of conditioning. The high obtained from certain drugs can be so strong that some people will develop addictive patterns after a single use. Underlying the addiction is the learned connection between the high and the use of the substance. That, too, overrides reason and reorganizes behavior. One of my greatest failures as a trading coach occurred with a young trader who experienced early market success. He took the time to observe markets, learn short-term patterns, and track his own trading. He started trading small and learned the important lessons about waiting for good and try points, cutting losing trades, and letting his winning trades run to their target points. The trading firm was happy with his progress and gave him significantly greater size to trade. That was where I went wrong. I should have stepped in and demanded that the trader's increase in risk be more graduated. Instead, armed with his new size, the young trader decided he would try to compete with the more experienced traders at the firm. He learning new action patterns. 209 traded full size in his positions and his profits and losses swung wildly. Unprepared emotionally for those swings, he became impulsive and, one day, abandoned all discipline, blowing himself up on a single trade he allowed to get away from him. He never recovered from that loss and eventually had to start over at another firm. It is impossible to remain emotionally stable if you greatly amplify your PL swings. When traders are undercapitalized and still hope to trade for a living, they too are impelled to take high levels of risk to achieve their desired returns. The result is that their portfolio swings wildly, with gains and losses that represent a large portion of total account value. These financial swings bring emotional swings, both positive and negative. The larger the financial swings, on average, the larger the emotional swings. The larger the emotional swings, the greater the potential for the development of learned, conditioned responses that disrupt future trading. When a trader undergoes an emotionally harrowing loss, many of the situational factors associated with that trade may become associated with the emotional pain. Some of these situational factors, from the trader's physical state to the particular type of movement in the market, may be quite random. Nonetheless, they can trigger the emotional pain, much like sitting in a passenger seat triggered my anxiety following the automobile accident. A trader who consulted me about problems pulling the trigger on good trade setups experienced precisely that problem. He had lost significant money shorting the market during an uptrend, incurring several large losses. Subsequently, even when his trades were small in size, he felt fear whenever he tried to short the market. The feelings associated with his loss came back as a conditioned response, inhibiting his trading. This is the dynamic behind the flashbacks that occur during post-traumatic stress. Stimuli associated with the initial trauma trigger memories and feelings from that painful incident. The problem may have been just as severe had this trader made large money on the initial trade instead of losing. The emotional impact of a windfall profit, like the impact of a crack cocaine high, would bring its own conditioning, leading him to pursue similar gains and highs in future trades. It is clearly understood by traders that, psychologically, outsized gains are just as problematic as outsized losses. The fat tails of returns threaten fat tails of psychological response, interfering with sound perception and decision making. For this reason, when you're your own trading coach, you don't want patterns of extreme returns. Steady, consistent profits are better for psychological performance than wild swings up and down, even though 210 The Daily Trading Coach. They may lead to the same ultimate returns. Stated otherwise, good risk-adjusted returns are better for the psyche than extreme patterns of returns. It's not how much you make, but how much you make per unit of risk taken that will keep you in or out of the performance zone. Your assignment for this lesson is to track the variability of your returns as intensively as your overall profitability. By variability of returns, I mean the absolute value of daily weekly changes in your portfolio value. How much your account swings up or down on average each day. As markets change in their volatility and as you shift in your level of conviction about trades, you'll see changes in this variability. This tracking will tell you when you run more and less risk. On the whole, you'll want greater variability when you trade well and have many solid ideas. You'll want to cut your risk, lower the variability of returns. When you don't see markets well and when good trading ideas and moves are scarce, track the volatility of your returns, not just their direction. Volatility affects trading psychology every bit as much as winning and losing. When you track the variability of returns, you'll also be able to see when your swings in profit loss are outliers from your historical norms. This will be an excellent alert that your levels of risk may be sufficient to generate those large emotional swings that will produce unwanted conditioned responses. Traders tend to love volatility when they're making money and hate volatility when they're losing. Psychologically, it makes sense to keep the volatility of your returns within bounds. Markets may possess fat tails, but with prudent position sizing, your returns can remain stable. You don't want markets conditioning your learning. You want to be your own coach, directing your own learning. Coaching Q. The psychological research on trauma suggests that processing a very stressful event verbally, loud or in writing, can be extremely helpful in making sense of that event and divesting it of enduring emotional impact. When we repeat something again and again, it becomes familiar to us longer evokes powerful emotion. If you encounter outsized gains or losses in your portfolio, double down in your use of the trading journal or in your conversations with peer traders to thoroughly process what happened and why. As noted above, this process is just as important following large gains as following large losses. When highly emotional events bypass explicit processing, that is when we are most vulnerable to the effects of conditioning. Learning new action patterns 211 Lesson 66. The power of incompatibility. Earlier we saw how much of what we learn is state dependent. We associate particular outcomes with specific physical and emotional states. These associated links trigger unwanted behavior patterns when we enter those states. The classical conditioning mentioned in the previous lesson is an excellent example. If we experience overwhelming anxiety due to large losses, exiting the market may provide immediate relief. Subsequent experiences of anxiety in the market may trigger the same exiting behavior even when it would be in our financial interest to hold the position. The association between the anxiety and perceptions of danger may be so strong that it overwhelms our prior planning. Boredom, for many active traders, can be as noxious as strong anxiety. It may be associated with failure to make money, or it may have much earlier negative associations. Being lonely or feeling abandoned as a child. If you get into a trade, particularly a risky one, you immediately relieve the boredom, but you create a new trading problem. In such cases, the trading behaviors triggered by the state are more psychological in their origins than logical. If trading is associated with an aversive state, we tend to do what is necessary to alleviate the state, even at the expense of our portfolios. One of the simplest behavioral techniques for breaking these bonds of conditioning is to place yourself in a state that is incompatible with the one that triggers your problematic trading. Thus, for instance, if you find that anxiety triggers hasty and ill-timed market exits, you would work on placing yourself in a calm, relaxed physical condition that is incompatible with anxiety. If boredom were your nemesis, you would cultivate activities that hold your interest during slow markets. When I am fatigued, I find that a round of vigorous exercise not only makes me more alert, but also triggers positive action patterns. As I tackle work that had previously seemed overwhelming, if you're not in a state that supports sound decision making, your self-coaching focus turns from the markets to yourself and doing something different to shift your state. Two of the methods I have found particularly helpful in maintaining states incompatible with one's triggers are controlling breathing and muscle attention during trading. When I focus on the screen and breathe deeply and slowly while I follow the market, I minimize the physical manifesta, shines of any form of overexcitement, from overconfidence to fear, and stay in a highly focused mode that I have learned to associate with good. 212 The Daily Trading Coach. Trading. When we slow ourselves down through deep, rhythmical breathing, it is difficult to be simultaneously speaked up and excited. The careful breathing thus acts as a dampener on extreme emotion. It reinforces self-control and discipline at the most elemental level. In my own trading, I found that problematic trading tends to occur when I am physically tense, especially when I tense the muscles of my forehead. I rarely knit my eyebrows and wrinkle my forehead when I am comfortable in a situation. Conversely, I am prone to headaches and associate forehead muscle tension with tension headaches, which can pose a considerable distraction. By purposely keeping my forehead relaxed, widening my eyes slightly and going into a temporary stare, as I maintain the slow, deep breathing, I can sustain a state incompatible with the ones that occur when I'm on edge. Instead of waiting to become tense or nervous and then performing exercises to reduce these feelings, I proactively pursue and maintain an incompatible state before problematic trading occurs. Control the arousal level of the body is a powerful means of controlling the arousal level of the mind. I can often recognize my physical level of tension by my seating position. When I am comfortable, confident, and relaxed, I sit in the chair firmly, with my lower back and behind flush with the seat back. When market events trigger a stress response, however, I find myself leaning forward, with my seat near the end of the chair. Over time, this position gives me a backache in my lower back. I know that I'm not comfortable with my trading or with the markets when I feel that pain. Often, I readjust my seating, reorient my breathing, and find it easier to view the markets from a different, and more promising, angle. The principle of incompatibility can also extend to thinking behaviors. Cognitive behavioral work treats thinking as a discrete behavior that can be conditioned and modified just like any muscular behavior. If we tend to engage in negative thinking during trading, we can enter a mode of thinking that is incompatible with negativity before trading problems occur. I frequently have one of my cats sitting beside me as I'm trading, usually Jinnah. It's nearly impossible for me to become consumed with negative or angry thoughts when I am petting Jinnah. She alternates between licking me and rubbing her face against mine, all the while purring loudly and making kneading movements with her front paws. Stroking the cat helps me stay in touch with loving, caring feelings that are incompatible with the nastier emotions that can emerge during frustrating market periods. One of the states that is most disruptive to my trading is what I would call a chaotic state, in which I feel as though I'm a step behind markets. Learning new action patterns 213 Not really understanding what is going on. It's a confused state, but also a frustrated one, as I don't feel in control in the situation. I've learned that if I place myself in environments that are incompatible with chaos, I am in a much more balanced frame of mind. Such environments are ordered and well organized. My notes and materials are readily at hand, and they are designed to evoke positive feelings. Music is particularly effective for me in this regard. It is also harder for me to feel chaotic if I have gone through a routine of research and track markets prior to the New York stock market open. I organize my ideas in advance to help me feel more organized, settled, and in control. You can structure your trading routines to make them incompatible with stress and distress. When you are your own trading coach, you have wide latitude in modifying your environment, inner and outer, so that it does not trigger states that are associated with poor trading. One trader I worked with loved trading in a room with other traders. He joined a prop firm because, in the social setting, he was too embarrassed to engage in behaviors he might lapse into on his own. He found that he was much more prudent about risk-taking and much less emotionally volatile when he was accountable to others. The key is to find a state or situation that is incompatible with the triggers for your worst trading and then build that into your normal trading routine. A simple way to get started is to complete the following sentence. I trade my worst when I. Once you write your answer, your assignment is to create the incompatible situation. For example, I would complete the the sentence with don't do my homework. I know that my day's preparation for the trade has a huge bearing on my odds for success that day. I also know that I'm least likely to do my homework diligently if I oversleep or am fatigued. When I build stretching and physical exercise into my early mornings, I enter an energized state that prepares me for the work. I've learned to associate the vigorous, energetic state with being prepared and engaging in my preparation. After you observe the differences in your states when you trade your best and worst, you'll be able to construct similar activities that proactively keep you in an optimal trading mode. 214 The Daily Trading Coach Coaching Cue. I mentioned above how chaotic feelings are a trigger for my worst trading. If markets aren't making sense to me, my mind feels scrambled and trading seems rushed. I've learned through hard experience that a powerful way to create a state incompatible with that chaos is to temporarily lower my trading size until I regain a feel for markets. With much less at risk, I don't feel pressured and yet can stay actively engaged in markets. When we control our risk, we can control our emotional reactions to markets. It's tough to panic when you have little on the line. Markets seem to move slower, and our feel for them returns when we are not distracted by emotions triggered by risk and uncertainty. Lesson 67. Build on positive associations. In the cognitive behavioral framework, we can utilize imagery as a stimulus to evoke desired responses, triggering our own positive, learned patterns. Making use of imagery in this fashion can help us create positive associative links, triggering our best trading behaviors. Let's say we have a trader who anticipates an early morning entry into the market based upon a research setup. Before the market opens, she visualizes the setup and her execution, noting the feelings of satisfaction from making a good decision. This positive mental rehearsal acts as a preparation for the actual trade, as she follows the behavioral pathway she has laid down in advance. I call this anticipatory reinforcement. By imagining the positive benefits of doing the right things, we strengthen positive associative links and make it easier to act on our learning in real time. Many traders conduct anticipatory reinforcement in reverse. They dwell on negative outcomes and feared scenarios, undercutting their own sense of efficacy. This, in essence, is anticipatory punishment, and it lets traders to miss opportunities or to not act on them. I've found over the years that much of what separates the excellent traders from the average ones is not so much their ideas, but what they do with those ideas. Two traders will have positions go their way and then pull back a bit. The first trader, anticipating punishment, fears losing his gain and takes a quick, small profit. The second trader, anticipating reward, adds to the position on the pullback and reaps large gains. Same idea, different outcomes, all as the result of conditioned patterns of thinking. Our ways of thinking can reflect conditioned responses. That's how markets can control our minds. Learning new action patterns 215 When we reinforce positive patterns, we not only strengthen these but also begin the process of extinguishing negative patterns. In behavioral theory, a stimulus-response connection is extinguished over time if it is not reinforced. The animal that was given food each time it performed a trick will eventually stop performing the trick if food is not forthcoming. Behavioral patterns, in this way, not only have to be learned but also actively reinforced to find active expression in our trading. We can unlearn negative behavior patterns simply by withdrawing their reinforcement and by introducing more powerful rewards elsewhere. This is a powerful principle. One common learned pattern among traders is the connection between anger, frustration, and aggression. When traders become frustrated by market conditions, say, a choppy, directionless trade, they react out of anger and lash out by placing trades to get even with the offending market. This pattern, relieving anger by lashing out, may make traders feel better for the moment, negative reinforcement, but it leads to poor decisions and losing trades. How can we use positive associations to unlearn this pattern of revenge trading? Suppose a trader engages in a thorough examination of his trading during the choppy markets of the past month. He investigates charts to identify the choppy periods and then reviews all his trades from these periods, pulling out the most successful ones. What he may find is that his successful trades in choppy conditions are more selective, fewer in number, that they are placed near the edges of trading ranges, and that they are held for shorter periods of time to capitalize either on breakups, false breakups, or on moves back within the range. His losing trades, on the other hand, tend to be placed in the middle of the range and are held for longer periods, reversing before they can hit distant price targets. Armed with this bit of self-coaching information, the trader now can view the choppy period as one of opportunity, not threat. When he notices a trading range going into the day's trade, he can use imagery to rehearse calm caution when the market is trading near the center of the range. He can also mentally rehearse entries near range extremes, including his placement of modest price targets. When he rehearses these trade ideas, it is with the feelings associated with his prior winning trades. Over time, with repetition, he learns a positive association with range-bound, choppy markets. His prior behavior pattern, built on frustration and its removal, is no longer reinforced. It faces gradual extinction, as he builds the more constructive associative patterns. Find the market conditions that are most challenging for you and then identify how you trade them best. This process turns threat into opportunity. 216 The Daily Trading Coach. Since the late 1970s, I have traded actively and gained a pretty good feel for many short-term market patterns, including patterns of volume and intraday sentiment. Many times I first become aware of these patterns with a gut feeling. Something seems right or not right about the market action. I have learned through hard-won experience that I suffer in my performance if I ignore these intuitions. They are not based on hopes or fears. They are the result of implicit learning over a period of years. In my mental rehearsals, I include scenarios in which I act upon this feel for the market, recalling specific, recent trades in which I saved myself considerable grief by not overriding my judgment. This rehearsal of positive associations has created a kind of intrinsic reinforcement. I actively look forward to the emergence of those gut cues and am mentally prepared to act on them when they arise. As I mentioned in the previous section, I have many positive associations to music. Indeed, as I'm writing this, I'm listening to music from a group called Denbridge, a kind of music that I find both energetic and uplifting. My writing today began at 6:30 a.m., and it is now 2 hours later and I'm going strong. The association of the music with the writing keeps me in a positive state of mind. It keeps me looking forward to the writing, even when the editing process can become tedious. With these positive connections activated regularly, my more negative patterns of procrastination the shy and are not reinforced and gradually lose their strength. Me to fight my tendency to procrastinate. Such internal conflict would likely create writer's block. Rather, I create a positive source of motivation that outweighs the negative reinforcement value of avoidance. A good example of the power of anticipatory reinforcement is occurring right now as I am writing this. I'm on a 15-hour flight to Hong Kong on my way to working with traders in Asia. The cabin is dark, and I'm feeling tired. I've promised myself, however, that I can take a long-awaited rest after I finish this chapter. I find myself more motivated as I get closer to my goal. By the time I get to rest, I will have earned it. Ultimately, the positive reinforcement of living up to my deal and earning the rest outweighs any negative reinforcement value of avoiding the writing out of tiredness. Find your strongest motivations and link those to your best behaviors. Your coaching assignment for this lesson is to create what-if scenarios for the day's trading, rehearsing the good, planned trades you would make in each scenario. These rehearsals should be detailed and vivid, accompanied by a visualization of the pride and satisfaction you experience when you trade well. For every single what-if outcome, you should envision a learning new action patterns 217 concrete response that embodies good trading. In this way, you plan your trading as well as your trades, but you also strengthen the bonds of positive learned patterns and extinguish the negative patterns. As your own trading coach, you have the power to be teacher as well as student, the shaper of behavior as well as the one whose behavior is shaped. If you take the active learning role that lies at the heart of the behavioral approach, you become the programmer of your own patterns. Coaching Q. I find it helpful to help traders identify the highlights of their trading from the past week, what they did especially well. From these highlights, we frame ideas about what the trader is really good at, what makes her successful. We then use this what I'm good at idea to frame positive goals for the coming week, how the trader is going to enact those strengths in the next few days. Because these are goals we track together, we create a situation of anticipatory reinforcement and a momentum for continuing best practices. This is a process you can carry forward with trading colleagues. Share what you do best and how you put your best talents and skills into practice. Focus on your
Time
best
to
trading and
eat.
you begin the process of extinguishing your worst practices.
I have to eat.
Lesson
Fuck.
68. Exposure. A powerful and flexible behavioral method. If I had to name a single behavioral method that is of greatest value to traders, it would be exposure. As I described in my chapter on behavioral methods in the Enhancing Trader Performance book, exposure is a technique that enables you to reprogram those stimulus response triggers that set off faulty trading. A major idea underlying exposure is that the avoidance of negative experience itself becomes a reinforcer, preventing people from overcoming learned fears. Let's say, for instance, that I have taken large losses on a short position and now experience fear whenever a buy program hits the tape and moves the index higher by several ticks. I can avoid that fear by simply exiting the position. While that avoidance is a relief, it never addresses the learned connection impelling my behavior. Indeed, it reinforces my fear by acting on it. It is impossible to overcome a fear when you give into it. We overcome fear by facing it successfully.
It's time to fucking eat. I gotta eat, man. Fuck. Take a little break. Time to eat. And y'all know what I'm about to eat. Y'all know what I'm about to eat. Some meat. Look at this one. She's all in it. Look at her. She about to go get her. She about to go get her teeth done. She about to get did up. Yeah, she about to get her teeth done. She about to get all did up. Yeah. Teeth done, shots done. She about to get all that shit done. Oh man. Move all that shit out the way. Oh man. Oh, hey. I started using, because of the ball, you know, I was sitting for so fucking long, right? So I got the ball. So it's actually better. It feels better. So the exercise ball, sit on that thing while I'm trading versus sitting on this fucking thing. This chair is a piece of shit. But I got that ball at Walmart for like 17 bucks. And that motherfucker there, boy, is way better, because you're not like fixed in one spot. You know what I mean? So if you're sitting for a long period of time, I don't even know you can see it, but if you sit for a long time, you sit on that bad boy, it's money. You know, you sit on that, it's money, money. Yeah, that's what you want. But yeah, they actually make chairs. They actually make office chairs with the ball, but it's the actual chair with the ball in the middle. But fuck all that. My internet's fucking up, man. I don't know what's the deal. I don't know what's up with this motherfucker. I don't know what's going on with this motherfucker, man. But hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. I need to charge this motherfucker. Throw this bitch on the charger. I gotta find the fucking charger, man. Hell no. Fuck no. I ain't going out nowhere. No, I might go out. I go out December. December 4th is my birthday, so I got Shorty. I got Shorty flying in from Los Angeles. She coming in from Los Angeles the 4th or the 3rd. So I got Shorty from Los Angeles coming in, and then I'll go out. I'll go out for my birthday. Probably go to that steakhouse. That same steakhouse we ate at last time. It's the only place in Williston to eat at, man. That's nice. So we'll probably go there for dinner. And but yeah, I'm gonna be going out nowhere. I might go to Walmart tomorrow. That's my out right there. That's my go out right there. Go to Walmart. Yeah, that's all Williston has, man. The only big store they got in Williston is fucking Walmart. They ain't got no Best Buy. They got no Sam's Club. They got none of that shit. So, yeah, I'll go to Walmart tomorrow to get my shopping done for my food and stuff. But that's it, man. Man, I bought some motherfucking sandals today. I bought like 3 pairs of sandals. Hey, these sandals right here. I've had these sandals. Check this out. I had these sandals since 2015 when I was driving with Swift, I think. I think I was driving for Swift. I'm not sure. I think I was driving for Swift. Yeah, I was driving with Swift, man. I bought these motherfuckers back home in Miami at Ross, right? And they're like, I don't know, they're like 20 bucks. The Crocs, right? I'm not, cause you driving a truck, so you need sandals and shit. I bought 3 pairs of these motherfuckers, man, today at Crocs website. They were on sale for like $17. I bought 3 of these motherfuckers. I bought black, blue, and red. Black, blue, and red. I bought 3 sets, man, because they just that comfortable. You know, truck driver, you gotta have sandals, right? You gotta have sandals for the motherfucking take showers and shit. So these motherfuckers here, I've had these since 2015, man. 2015. Let me turn the light on. Look at that. I had these motherfuckers since 2015, and I'm gonna tell you what. If you ain't never wear no Crocs, if you ain't never wore no Crocs, these motherfuckers right here are the truth, man. Look at that. I've had these bitches since 2015. I told them I ran in these motherfuckers, man. They no joke, man. And they look at that. 2015, they still got tread on these motherfuckers. But these bitches here are no joke, man. For some slides, these motherfuckers are by far the best goddamn slides I've ever had. But yeah, Crocs. Go to Crocs, man. And they on sale right now. You go to Crocs.com, them motherfuckers on sale. They usually like they're like $30 and some change. But they got that sale on right now for $17. Like I said, I bought 3 sets of these motherfuckers. Black, blue, and red. Black, blue, and red. Yeah. But yeah, I'm telling you, if you guys like slides and you want something that's gonna last you, like I said, I've had these motherfuckers since 2015 through 2 trucking companies. I'll be running in these motherfuckers. I be taking the showers in these motherfuckers, and they still fucking solid. And they still kicking. I needed to get some new ones. But yeah, I got them. Crocs, man. They fucking super comfortable too. Can't even talk. Can't even fucking talk. But yeah, they super comfortable too, man. Super comfortable. You guys know I won't steer you wrong, man. You know, I'll take care of you guys. I'll tell y'all what's the good shit and what's the bad shit. So I'm gonna buy 2,000. Hopefully in January. I'm gonna give me 2015. But I have to have my credit. I have to have, man. So hopefully by January, if he can have all my shit off my credit, I'll get me that. I'm thinking I'm gonna get the big boy Range Rover. If I don't get the big boy Range Rover, I'll get the Sport. But most likely the big boy Range Rover. I don't know what the fuck's up with this internet, man. I'm using internet off my phone. The fucking internet here ain't no fucking good. Well, actually, they got it back up. Oh, they're back online. Let me see if see how we looking here. I'm trying to look for tracksuits, man. I was gonna try to buy some Hugo Boss tracksuits, but these motherfuckers, they don't have this suit together. Motherfucker, I want a track suit. I don't want to be fucking fishing around for the top and bottom, motherfucker. If you got it on the website, I want to see top and bottom. I don't want to be fucking Mitch. I don't want to be putting shit together, motherfucker. Bring it as a set. Tracksuit, bitch. I'm looking for tracksuits earlier. I was like, fuck that. I'm good, man. Couldn't even find no tracksuits. I looked at Nike. I went on the Nike site. Them motherfuckers, they want you to put shit together. Bitch, I ain't here to put shit together. I want a fucking track suit. Like buying a fucking suit. Where the fucking track suits at, man? I gave up. I was like, fuck that. And you know what? I probably, I got a weird body. I got a big fucking I got a little tiny waist with a big little ass. And, my upper body's all jacked up. So I got mismatched shit. They had one website. They were doing extra large. So they were giving you extra large pants and extra large fucking top. Like, motherfucker. And they wouldn't even give me an option to fucking get the shit where I can, all right, I need to get a large top or extra large top with fucking large bottoms. These motherfuckers trying to give a bitch extra large bottom and extra large top. I'm like, bitch, who does that shit, man? I was like, fuck, I'm done. I'm not even gonna try to fucking shop, man. That shit just gonna piss me off. The fuck was I looking for? YouTube.
So no online shopping for me. What's up, man? Alright, we good. We rolling. And we got another fucking update. Jesus Christ. How many fucking updates we gonna have with Apple here? Jesus, this is like the third one this week, motherfucker. Fucking update. They updating some, you know why? Because they got that new phone, but damn. Look at this shit. Another fucking update. I'm gonna show you these Range Rovers I was looking at. But I ain't coming out of pocket. If I were to get a Range Rover now, that motherfucker's gonna want me to come out $20,000, $30,000. Man, I ain't doing that. Fuck that shit. I'm only gonna come out a few $1,000s, and that's it. If that. If that. Maybe nothing. Oh, wow. Oh. So yeah, man, this is what you guys gonna be getting, man. You know, we're gonna be stuck. It's like being locked up. This is all you're gonna see right now, man. You're gonna see this. You're gonna see these 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna see 4 walls, man, and me. That's it. For the next few months. Or maybe the next year, I don't know. However long it takes. So ain't gonna be a lot of action, man. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna be mad if you fucking unsubscribe. I'm not gonna be mad, man. I'll be bored too. Shit. So yeah, man, like I said, it's just gonna be I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. It's gonna be a lot in whether I be in this motherfucker or I'm trying to get into another spot. So I'll be here or at the other spot, which would be cheaper, like $200 cheaper. But at least I'll have kitchen, have a real fridge, so we can stack up ice cream in that motherfucker. I'm telling you, when I when I get that refrigerator, that whole goddamn freezer gonna be full of fucking ice cream, ice cream and meat, ice cream and red meat. But man, this is it, man. This is all we doing right here. A lot of studying and a lot of charts, a lot of stock charts. That's all we doing, man. Uh, yeah, that's all we doing, man. So like I said, I ain't gonna be mad if you unsubscribe because this is all you're gonna see and this is all you're gonna get. You're gonna see me talking about um, my losses for the week or the day. You know, all you're gonna see is a bunch of charts, man. A bunch of stock charts every day, every week, Monday through Friday. If I put a trade in, I got to talk about it. You know, that's gonna just make me a better trader. So I got to talk about it. I got to talk about how much I lost, what was my position, when I got in that position, why I got out of that position. You know, what was the price I got in, what was the price I got out, and it's gonna be repetitive. It's like that every day. So like I said, if if if, uh, if that bores you, then like I said, I don't get I ain't gonna be mad at you unsubscribe, man. You know, it's gonna be like that for a little bit, man. It's gonna be like that for a little bit. You know, however long it takes for me to get my bearings on this motherfucker. Alright, fuck, I need to study, man. What the fuck? Get rid of this damn book. Get this book out of the motherfucking way.
218 The Daily Trading Coach. In exposure work, we intentionally expose ourselves to the situations that set us off. Generally, this process begins with imaginal exposure, fact-time situations and realistic imagery, and progresses to in vivo, real-time, exposure. These exposures pair the trigger situation with learned skills that invoke a state incompatible with the bad trading. Thus, in the example above, we might rehearse a calm, focused state of mind while vividly imagining the market moving higher against us. Think about what this accomplishes. On one hand, we immerse ourselves in thoughts and images of something we find threatening. We force ourselves to experience our worst fears. At the same time, however, we make special efforts to keep ourselves controlled. We talk to ourselves in calming ways, slow our breathing, and keep our bodies relaxed. We do this again and again, repeating the imagined scenarios until we are able to stay completely calm and focused throughout. In that way, we extinguish the learned connection between the situation and the fear. Exposure methods are ways to reprogram our emotional responses to situations. 2 steps are important to make exposure effective. 1. Before you expose yourself to a major IOF or trigger situations, make sure you thoroughly learn the coping skill that you'll be assigned as part of the pairing. For example, you want to practice a deep breathing, muscle relaxation routine every day for at least a week to ensure that you can focus and relax yourself on demand. At first, practicing the technique may take 20 minutes or so to get quite relaxed. Later it will take only 15, then 10. Eventually, with enough practice, you'll be able to relax and focus yourself quite effectively with just a few deep breaths. You want to get to that point before undertaking the imagery work. The idea is to internalize the coping skill before you try to pair it with threatening situations too. Repetition is tercero tower for tiver passer work out on just imagine a stressful situation. Keep yourself calm, and then go on with your day. Rather, you imagine the situation in great detail. With variations. You will watch stressful self-imagined scenarios. Repeat a single scenario 5 times until it no longer elicits anxiety. That is fine. The goal is to unlearn the connection between the situation and the unwanted response and train yourself to a new connection between the trigger situation and staying in the zone. Learning new action patterns 219 is a beginning exercise. Here is a very basic exposure routine that you can apply to almost any trading patterns that you wish to change. I have found that this works very well for reprogramming anxiety responses to market situations and frustration anger responses. Anytime a situation evokes an exaggerated emotional or behavioral response from you, exposure methods can be used to alter your reactions. Step 1. Seat yourself comfortably, listening to relaxing music through headphones. While listening, close your eyes and breathe deeply and slowly. Keep yourself still physically and keep your mind focused on the music. Step 2. Start with lower part of your body and gradually tense and relax the muscles, performing several repetitions with each muscle group before moving higher along your body. Thus you tense and relax your toes several times, then you flex your foot, then your lower leg, etc. All the while you are tensing and you are breathing deeply and slowly and staying focused on the music. Step 3. Once you reach the top of your body, tensing and relaxing the muscles of your face, you then take a few more deep breaths and notice your body's relaxation. Step 4. With the music still playing, imagine in detail a trading situation that you anticipate. Visualize the position you're in the market movement. Imagine the market behaving in a way that normally would trigger your fear, frustration, etc. All the while, you are breathing deeply and slowly, keeping your muscles and playing the music in the background. Step 5. When you feel yourself tense up or experience fear or frustration, stop the visualization, freeze the frame, and simply go back to breathing deeply and slowly and listening to the music. Once you're relaxed again, continue the scenario from where you left off. Make sure you freeze things and keep yourself calm and focused when trigger responses start to affect your visualization. Step 6. If you had to interrupt the visualization to keep yourself calm, repeat the exact same scenario the same way until you can get all the way through without having to freeze the scene. At that point, you've extinguished the response to the situation. Step 7. After you master one scenario, construct variations of the scenario, perhaps making each one a bit more stressful. Once again, don't move on to another scene until you've been able to keep yourself fully relaxed and focused during the scene you've been rehearsing. If you can stay calm and focused during
You know what? I'm gonna cook curry chicken tomorrow. Curry chicken tomorrow. Thai curry chicken tomorrow for dinner. Yeah, that's what I'm having tomorrow. Thai curry chicken. And I'm gonna use that pressure cooker too.
220 The Daily Trading Coach. Visualization of a moderate stress. Make the next visualizations more threatening. Don't stop your exposure work until you have tackled your absolute worst fears. This basic exercise enables you to extinguish emotional and behavioral responses to trading situations that can lose you money. If you rehearse staying calm and focused in stressful situations, you build a new learned connection and reprogram your behavioral responses. This process is effective for situations in which you've been through extreme losses, and it is also quite useful in reprogramming patterns of overtrading. When you coach yourself to face and overcome your worst fears, you build confidence, resilience, and a sense of efficacy, empowering yourself in situations where you had seemed powerless. Coaching Q. Imagery can be powerful and programs that extend on your exposure work to live trading. Such in vivo exposure, beginning with small trading size and gradually ramping up to full size with success, is the single and most effective technique for reprogramming traumatic experiences in trading, such as large losses that overwhelm mood and confidence, by recreating the market conditions that caused the trauma in imagery, and then facing those conditions in simulated and actual trading, all the while rehearsing self-control skills. We can regain a sense of mastery over trading. It takes repeated experiences of safety during exposure work to undo traumatic stresses. Eventually, the emotional learning that we can face our fears without terrible things happening sinks in and contributes to a newfound confidence. Lesson 69. Extend exposure work to build skills. In the previous lesson, we saw how exposure methods can be used to deprogram negative behavior patterns. Just a small adjustment in the technique is needed to create positive learning by rehearsing and reinforcing proper trading behaviors. The fundamental difficulty of trading is that we know what to do. Enter on pullbacks in a trend. Size positions appropriately. When we are out of the heat of battle. When stressed, however, or when we face unusual opportunity, we find that other behavior patterns are triggered and it is much more difficult to do the right things. I work with a good number of experienced portfolio managers and proprietary traders, and even they make the occasional rookie errors, in which they are swayed by situational. Learning new action patterns. 221 influences. Techniques that reinforce the right actions can be useful for the pros as well as beginners. One trader I worked with was bedeviled with the problem of regret. He would enter a longer-term position and, while it was going his way, he was fine. As soon as the position retraced some of the gains, however, he began to regret that he hadn't lightened up at the more favorable price levels. This regret was a very tangible psychological influence for him. At times, it became outright guilt as he convinced himself that he had done the wrong thing. What happened as a result of this pattern is that he would inevitably assuage this guilt by waiting for the profits on the trade to move back to their high water mark so that he had an exit approximating the one he had missed. The problem was that this cut his original trade idea short. Many times he would take his profit on the first rebound from the retracement, only to see the position move toward his initial target without him on board. Then the trader experienced massive regret and guilt. This led him to seek additional home run trades, to relieve his newest guilt, only to make the same mistakes on these trades as well. By the time I met with this trader, all he could talk about was how much he could have made if he had just traded the way he planned. Many traders are shaken out of good trades when they aim to not lose, rather than aim to maximize profits. The exposure work for this trader was straightforward. As the previous lesson outlined, we first just worked on the skill of staying calm and focused. I used the heart rate variability, HRV, biofeedback unit for this work, www.hartmouth.com. He had to concentrate and breathe rhythmically and deeply while keeping his HRV readings high. The trader was able to use the biofeedback unit for practice at home, and he could track his skill building by keeping the majority of his readings in the highest bin for a continuous period of 5 minutes or more. He found that he could keep his readings high by focusing his attention, counting in his head, keeping physically still and relaxed, and breathing from his diaphragm dual fashion. Once he had mastered the skill of keeping himself in the HRV zone, he used visualization to walk himself at target, imagined the market moving in his favor, but instead of imagining himself being pleased with this outcome, which was what happened in his usual trading, he mentally reviewed his original trade plan and told himself that nothing had changed to alter it was working as anticipated. I asked the trader to simply repeat this part of the visualization over and over until he no longer reacted to the initial 222. The daily trading coach game with excitement, and with a mental accounting of his paper profits. Instead, he visualized staying calm by reaffirming his plan for the trade. Getting excited by gains in trade is the first step toward getting panicky when those gains are threatened. Only after the trader had mastered this aspect of the trading situation did we proceed to imagining that the market retraced some of its initial move, eroding a portion of his gain. Again and again, he imagined this retracement while breathing deeply and slowly and staying focused on the computer screen, which displayed his biofeedback readings, until the imagery of the retracement no longer brought fear or concern. At that point we mentally rehearsed the pullbacks all over again, this time while not only staying calm and focused, but all while mentally reviewing his trade idea and his exits. Our trader spontaneously began to focus his attention on how proud he would feel if he just stuck with his ideas and saw them through. This pride, for him, was the opposite of the guilt he had been feeling. When he invoked this sense of pride, he not only extinguished his old behavior, but also positively reinforced his discipline. The key to making this work is mentally rehearsing the right trading behaviors while you're in the state that normally triggers the wrong ones. When you're your own trading coach, your challenge isn't simply to figure out the right things to do. Rather, your job is to be able to act in the right ways in situations that normally pull for all the wrong trading behaviors. If you practice good trading when you're not in realistic trading situations, it is much less powerful than overcoming learned connections as they're occurring. Of course, we can extend the power of exposure by shifting from imagery-based work to actual trading. Typically, I'll have a trader start trading small size at first while engaging in the deep breathing and concentration and implementing trading plans. While the trade is on, the trader keeps her biofeedback readings in the optimal range and rehearses the plan for that trade. During the troublesome retracements, the trader simply repeats what she had practiced in the imagery, staying focused on the trading plan and keeping physically calm through the regular, deep breathing. Once this process is successful with small trades, the trader can gradually increase size back to the normal level of risk, performing the biofeedback work at each new size level. Utilize biofeedback during trading and you can often detect departures from the performance zone before you are consciously aware of them. increasingly. Learning new action patterns 223. If there are challenging market situations, the best approach to master them is to face them directly while you stay grounded in your best strategy practices. With the use of imagery, this conditioning work can be accomplished outside of market hours and without taking risks. With repetition, the mentally rehearsed patterns feel increasingly natural. As the learn connections fall away, it is not always comfortable doing exposure work, and the better you do it, the less comfortable it will be. But you cannot coach yourself through discomfort unless you're willing and able to tackle it directly. Rehearse your best trading practices while you're in your most stressful situations. It is one of the most effective training techniques you can employ. Coaching Q. It is helpful to formulate your best trading practices as specific, concrete rules so that these rules can be rehearsed in detail during the exposure work. Among the rules I found most helpful for this work are generating trading ideas by identifying themes that cut across trader depending on their markets and trading style. The important factor to know what you do when you are most successful, so that you can cement these positive patterns, even as you expose yourself to challenging trading conditions. Lesson 70. A behavioral framework for dealing with worry. We hear a great deal about fear and greed, and all of us have experienced bouts of overconfidence and frustration on a day in and day out basis. However, few problems are as thorny for traders as worry.
Yeah, that was quick. Shit.
124. The Daily Trading Coach. Worry occurs when we anticipate an adverse outcome and its consequences. We can worry about missing an opportunity or about being wrong in a trade. We can worry about the future of our trading career or, sometimes, worries from personal life outside of trading can affect decision making. It is common, for instance, for young traders to experience more stress after they have married, had children, or purchased a new home. With the added financial responsibilities come worries. Worry is problematic for traders for several reasons. It undercuts confidence. It is difficult to maintain optimism and focus on progress while anticipating negative outcomes. It interferes with concentration. Thought and emotion directed toward worries are taken away from tracking market patterns. It leads to impulsive decisions. For most people, worry is so noxious that they will take action to reduce their concerns. Such action is not necessarily in the best interest of one's trading account. It is not productive. Rarely does worry lead to concrete, constructive problem solving. Worrying about negative outcomes does not generally help people achieve positive ones. It is difficult to make sense of worry from a behavioral vantage point. No one truly enjoys worry, so it is unclear why the behavior persists. This is especially puzzling for chronic worriers. They do not enjoy focusing on negative things and typically are not happy people. So what keeps them worrying? Visualizing worst case scenarios and how you would handle them is constructive. Worry reinforces a sense of hopelessness and helplessness in the face of those scenarios. To make sense of worry, let's review the difference between thinking about a negative event and actually experiencing that event. I can think about losing money in my trading and the thought does not bring particular anxiety or concern. If, however, I vividly imagine a particular trade that I am planning and visualize myself taking a loss on a large position, I can generate palpable experiences of nervousness. Abstract thought rarely generates strong emotion. Imagery, on the other hand, acts as a surrogate for reality. Think about sexuality and nothing happens. Imagine an erotically charged scene and the body responds. From a behavioral vantage point, worry is a form of thinking and, as such, it can function as a negative reinforcer. Let's say that I anticipate a stressful meeting with the risk manager of my trading firm. My underlying fear is that he will reduce my capital and express a loss of confidence in.
Damn, this motherfucker's quick. Can't even keep up. This bitch reading so damn quick.
Learning new action patterns 225. Me, rather than experience the hurt and resentment that such a meeting would engender, I worry about making the meeting on time, what I'll say in the meeting, what I might miss in the markets while the meeting is going on, etc. None of these worries has the power to evoke strong emotion. Rather, the worries serve as distractions from the difficult feelings I would experience if I actually visualized outcomes of the meeting. If I avoid experiencing these feelings, worry serves as a negative reinforcer. Strange as it might seem, worry is not so noxious when the alternative is facing scary outcomes. Worry can possess reinforcement value in other ways, as well. If I were feeling out of control in my trading, that feeling would be unpleasant to dwell upon. If I worry about details in the work I'm going to have done on my house, I shift my focus to something more controllable. While it may seem that I worry about negative outcomes, and, in the example, I am, the psychological reality is that I substitute a lesser concern for a greater one when I worry. What we worry about is usually not what is scariest to us. Indeed, it is a diversion from the scariest scenario, and therein lies its reinforcement value. Worries about small things usually mask larger concerns. Exposure work can be a great antidote to worry. When we expose ourselves to our greatest concerns, our worst case scenarios, we can plan for these possibilities and mentally rehearse positive coping. If, for instance, I'm threatened by an upcoming meeting with the risk manager at my firm, I look at the worst case outcome, a large cut in my capital, and figure out a trading plan that will focus on my most successful trading and bring me back to my prior portfolio size. Once I anticipate the worst and figure out how I deal with it, I take the catastrophe out of the situation. That eliminates the need for worry-based diversions. Worry thinking can be a negative reinforcer if it is more noxious than the alternative of facing possible outcomes constructively. A great way to coach yourself past worry is to make note whenever you catch yourself worrying and ask, what am I really fearful of? What's the real issue here? What you generally find is that there's an unresolved situation looming in the background. Until the situation is faced squarely, it intrudes in your work and affects your mood. Suppose you find yourself worrying about whether a specific trade will work out. When you stop and reflect, you realize that you've sized the trade and placed your stop-loss point in such a way as to make such worry unnecessary. So what is the real concern? Perhaps the fear is of one's future as a trader. Perhaps it's a conflict at home. Whatever the real problem is, you want to visualize the 226. The Daily Trading Coach. Situation vividly and walk yourself through your most constructive response. Then visualize the situation and solution again and again. With repetition,
doing,
the
girl?
worst case scenario will become routine. It will no longer evoke strong emotion, and that will leave you with little reason for worry. Coaching Q. Worry can be a great signal that we are harboring larger concerns about our basic trade ideas. When I find myself glued to the screen, following the market tick by tick during a longer-term trade, I know that something is wrong. Beneath the worries about the market's moment-to-moment action, I have deeper concerns. Perhaps that my basic idea is wrong all along. This can be a useful signal. When we're comfortable with trades, we don't need to worry over every tick in the market. And when we are worrying about those ticks, it's a good sign that we're not comfortable with our position, and that can lead to constructive re-evaluation and planning. Resources. The Become Your Own Trading Coach blog is the primary supplemental resource for this book. You can find links and additional posts on the topic of coaching processes at the homepage on the blog for Chapter 7. http://becomeyourownTradingCoach.blogspot.com/2008/08/daily-trading coach chapter 7. Links.html. Chapter 9 of Enhancing Trader Performance details several strategies for changing behaviors that interfere with trading decisions, including a step-by-step description of exposure-based methods. See also Chapter 8 of that book for cognitive and cognitive behavioral techniques. A detailed account of behavioral approaches to change can be found in the chapter Brief Behavior Therapy by Embry, Roth, Box, and Foa in the Art and Science of Brief Psychotherapies, edited by Dewin, Steenberger, and Greenberg. American Psychiatric Publishing, 2004. Articles relevant to behavioral views of trading can be found among my collected articles, including the articles on behavioral patterns that sabotage traders and techniques for overcoming performance anxiety in trading. www.brentsteenberger.com/articles.htm. Articles on emotional intelligence, staying in the zone, and balancing trading with the rest of life can be found in Psychology of Trading, edited by Laura Sether, W&A Publishing, 2007.
Get my ass back on that bed in a second.
Chapter 8. Coaching your trading business. He is not great who is not greatly good. William Shakespeare. In the previous chapters, we have explored ways of coaching yourself by becoming your own trading psychologist. Now we will turn to another facet of self-coaching, guiding your trading business. You, as a trader, are a business person no less than someone who offers goods and services to the public. You have overhead to cover, and you have returns you need to make to stay in business. Like any business owner, you risk your time, effort, and capital to earn returns higher than you could obtain from other activities. But are you getting the best return for your efforts? Are you taking the right amount of risk at the right times? Are you devoting the majority of your efforts to the activities that will provide the best returns? When you are your own business coach, you focus both on doing the right things and upon doing things right. There's much you can do as your own psychologist. Now let's see how you can thrive as your own business consultant. Lesson 71. The importance of startup capital. If you consistently break even in your trading, you will eventually lose all your capital. This is because there are costs embedded within trading, such as commissions and fees for data services, software, and computer. 227.
I need to write a list, man. What I need to get from Walmart.
228. The Daily Trading Coach. Support. It is no different in any business. An entrepreneur has to at least make enough to cover the overhead to stay afloat. Many businesses fail because they lack adequate startup capital and cannot keep their overhead under tight control. They don't realize how long it will take to build a large and loyal customer base. As a result, they burn through their cash before they can sustain break-even operations. To preserve capital, they cut back on essentials such as marketing and advertising. This creates a death spiral of fewer customers, lower income, and further belt-tightening. Adequate startup capital enables the entrepreneur to make a beginner's mistakes and address the holes in his business plan before going out of business. Business plans are like battle plans in times of war. They are indispensable, but also subject to frequent change. Without sufficient resources, businesses cannot weather those changes. Much of the stress that new traders experience is the result of an inadequate capital base. They are trying to do too much with too little. So it is with traders. When they begin their business with modest capital, they cannot survive their learning curves when markets change and inevitable slumps take hold. Like failing businesses, they then begin to cut back on essential overhead, such as needed data and redundant systems. With little more to trade with than the same charts that everyone else looks at, the undercapitalized trader in overhead reduction mode virtually ensures that she will never maintain a distinctive edge. So how much startup capital is sufficient for a trader? If you are just learning about markets, very little capital is needed to advance your learning curve. I began trading in late 1977 with a $2,500 stock market account at a regional brokerage in Kansas City. That enabled me to trade 100 share lots of individual stocks and test out my ideas without undue risk. Now, with the advent of simulation platforms, as discussed in the Enhancing Trader Performance book, it is possible to realistically test strategies and gain a feel for markets without placing money at risk. Some commentators downplay the value of paper trading and simulation-based trading with live data because the psychological pressures of losing real money and the overconfidence that comes with winning are not present. This, however, is precisely why simulated trading is perfect for traders early in their development. Simulation enables the beginner to simply focus on the mechanics of trading and the recognition of trading patterns without having to worry about losing startup capital. Coaching your trading business. 229. After all, if traders can succeed in simulated trading, there's no way they'll succeed when those psychological pressures are added to the mix. What makes sense, therefore, is to require yourself to earn consistent money and practice trading before you assume modest risk with 100 shares or one lot of a futures contract. You must need to sustain success with that small size before you trade larger, just as a business should sustain.
Sweet. Motherfucker.
When the aim is trading for a living, Far more startup capital is required. At money management firms I currently work with, for example, a portfolio manager is quite a star if she can sustain 30% returns year after year without taking on the risk. That portfolio manager will inevitably be given more capital to manage and, if success follows, may even strike out on her own with her own fund. In truth, a consistent 15% annual return, achieved with modest risk, will keep a portfolio manager well employed at most firms. True, any particular trader may achieve outsized returns in a given year, especially if taking large risk. The question, however, is, what kinds of average returns sustainable over time? A developing trader who expects to outperform seasoned money managers year after year substitutes fantasies for business plans. But if consistent 30% returns after expenses are stellar, how much trading capital would be required to sustain a living, and to keep the trading AC count growing at the same time? It's not difficult to see that an account well into the six figures would be a minimum startup for a trader that wants good living from his work. Not many traders early in their careers have access to that kind of liquid capital. As a result, they start with much less capital and try to trade it aggressively to generate returns large enough to support a household. For a while, that might work out. Eventually, however, such traders sustain grievous losses that cannot be surmounted. After all, once you lose 50% of your capital, you have to double your remaining money just to get back to where you were. An undercapitalized trader, like an undercapitalized business, can't weather many adverse events, especially if taking large and frequent risks.
Sounds like me. That's why we are not fucking around. I put in small bets for now, man. No more big bets. Small bets.
230 the
I
daily
can still
trading
make a
coach.
couple $100.
Long before you seek to trade for a living, you should work at trading competence, just breaking even after costs. When you are your own trading coach, you're also the manager and entrepreneur of your own trading business. That means that you have to start with a viable plan for success. Among other things, that plan should address 1. How I learn markets and obtain trading competencies. 2. How you capitalize your business so that you can make a good income from realistic, solid risk-adjusted returns. If you cannot raise the capital needed to make a living from realistically good returns, then your challenge is to make yourself attractive to trading firms that can front you sufficient trading capital. Take the steps needed to become attractive to such a firm and make that part of your business plan. This will form the basis for the next lesson. For now, your assignment is simply to learn markets before you put significant capital at risk. Establish success over a range of market conditions and cycles, and ensure adequate access to capital before you give up your day job. Stress test the startup plan for your trading business. Calculate how you would get by if returns were modest for the first couple of years. Run your plan by seasoned traders who make their living from markets. Find the weak spots and address them. As the old saying goes, failing to plan is tantamount to planning to fail. Coaching Q. Decisions I made in my trading was to begin with an account small enough that it would not impact my family's lifestyle if I lost every penny. Early in my development, I had no illusions of trading for a living. My goal was to simply get better. A major milestone in my development came when I could consistently keep losing trades smaller than winners. Early in my trading efforts, it was a few large losers that impaired my overall performance. Had I been trading with money needed for my family's well-being, the stress of making rookie mistakes would have been overwhelming. Margie referred to my trading account as play money. She never counted on it or the income from it in our financial planning. Without the pressure of profitability demands early in my development, I was free to make mistakes and learn from them. A sure way to maximize stress and lower your odds of success is to put your capital at risk before you have cultivated.
Oh, that we into the nitty gritty now. Shit, now let me bookmark these motherfuckers. Yeah, they talking some good shit now. Talking shit, I couldn't understand what the fuck they. I know what he's saying in the whole time in this book, but a lot of shit just fucking talking about cats and motherfucker. I look like a cat, you motherfucker. Hell no, I don't even no goddamn cat. You trying to compare me to no damn cat?
Coaching your trading business 231 lesson 72. Plan your trading business. When you're your own trading coach, you are also the manager of your trading business. What is your business plan for success? How are you going to achieve your goals as a trader? The first step toward good planning is to know why you are trading. That sounds silly. Doesn't everyone trade to make money? Yes and no. I'm continually surprised at traders' fuzziness about their goals. If you're a beginner, your goal is simply to learn the ropes, internalize market patterns, and practice skills related to good execution and risk management. If so, as the previous lesson emphasized, you can accomplish those ends with little or no capital at risk. What you need is a learning plan and a platform from which you can observe markets and trade them in simulation mode. The elements of learning plans are covered in enhancing trader performance and will be addressed in later lessons in this chapter. If you are like me and don't trade full-time for a living, your goal is different. Your objective is to make more than the riskless rate of return. That is, the amount you could earn, say, from a savings bond or bank certificate of deposit, after expenses. In that case, you allocate a portion of your savings to your trading account and use that portion of your money to improve returns from other investments and savings vehicles. This process means that you will be particularly sensitive to risk-adjusted returns, as you won't want to place your savings at undue risk. Trading, in that context, is part of diversification of your capital and is part of a larger financial plan. Your business plan will look different if you're trading as an avocatian rather than as your vocation. If you're trading for a living, then you're truly in the mode in which your trading is your business. A retail business needs to know how it will make money, what products they will sell, how they will sell them, how much it will cost them to sell them, and how much they can charge for them in order to make an acceptable return on investment. In your trading business, the questions become, what will you trade and how will you trade it? What simulated and lived trading experience tells you that this will be successful? What will your overhead be? This includes software, hardware, commissions, and other expenses related to full-time trading, from the cost of data to your electronic connections and educational materials.
I probably spend shit 1, 2. I'll say. Oh, hold on, baby. There you are.
Okay.
Hey. Oh. What's going on?
Nothing.
Yeah.
No, but you were supposed to get another box, babe, because. Oh, I'll take care of ours upstairs. Oh. With my best friend.
Oh, okay. You gonna call me later or what?
No, I'm gonna talk to you now. Hold on. No. Oh my god, I sent you a video of that? That's hella nasty. I'm hella gross. What? No. I'm going to see him on his birthday though. Malay. He is from Miami. He lives in North Dakota. I fucking hate traveling there. And he is a big ass baby. Okay, I don't like being on pause.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta put on my headset. Hold up.
What? What are you doing? I'm going December 4th to go see him.
Oh yeah. What are you guys drinking? Threesome, huh? Who would be excited? You guys getting your names tattooed? Or that word you showed me earlier? Oh, you guys are actually getting names. The names, huh? Fuck. How the fuck do I know? I got a cock. What do I need a fucking dildo for? What the fuck, man? Yeah. All right, all right. What the fuck? Fuck.
Trading business. When you're your own trading coach, you are also the manager of your trading business. What is your business plan for success? How are you going to achieve your goals as a trader? The first step toward good planning is to know why you are trading. That sounds silly. Doesn't everyone trade to make money? Yes and no. I'm continually surprised at trade.
Oh shit. Let me fucking put in the fucking passcode. So what is it? 6.
Coaching your trading business 231 lesson 72. Plan your trading business. When you're your own trading coach, you are also the manager of your trading business. What is your business plan for success? How are you going to achieve your goals as a trader? The first step toward good planning is to know why you are trading. That sounds silly. Doesn't everyone trade to make money? Yes and no. I'm continually surprised at traders' fuzziness about their goals. If you're a beginner, your goal is simply to learn the road of deposit after expenses. In that case, you allocate a portion of your savings to your trading account and use that portion of your money to implement savings account. You will be particularly sensitive to risk-adjusted returns, as you don't want to place your savings at under risk. Trading, in that context, is your capital and is part of a larger plan will look different if you're trading as an avocation rather than as your vocation. If you're trading for a motive business, a retail business needs to know how it will make money. They will.
I can hear you now. Go ahead, girl. Hey, can you hear me now? Yeah, I got you. Hey. Yeah. No, no, no. So you getting the girl's name? You getting her name on there? Where you gonna get a name? Where you guys getting the names at? Hmm. I was gonna say because you're gonna have to get my name on you. You got to get my name too. Okay. Trying to figure out where I want to put my name at. No. Probably get on your neck, right here. Like right here on the shoulder. Yeah. Nah. Don't ever say never. Yeah, 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 yeah. You'll get my name on there one day. Maybe when you get maybe when you come up here. Yeah. That's easy. All right, all right. Enough of that. We're good. I'm here.